The brothers gonna work it out. The brothers gonna work it out.
Hello everybody and welcome to Norwood Oval. It's round 13 in the SANFL and today Norwood are at home against the Eagles. The Redlegs are third on the ladder, the Eagles are second, and the prize today for the winner is a possible crack at top spot. If Port Adelaide lose to Glenelg this afternoon or tonight at Footy Park, one of these two sides, if they win by a bit of a margin, can take top spot. It's a big day. Stay with us. We're live until 5 as Andrew Page joins us, 300-game veteran for the Eagles. And Page, I think you'll enjoy our half-time today. We've got a Freddie Bills flashback, 313 games for the Eagles. Not many blokes played 300 games for the Eagles.
No, we had Lindsay Head also and Ralph Sewell,
yes,
along with yours truly. So that was it. So, no, good luck. I'm looking forward to
that
half-time segment. David, you fell short by about 280. That was about it.
Just a little bit. A warm vote of good luck to Kevin Golding, the Eagles' timekeeper, is in hospital, Paisy. And
yes, his eyes will be glued to the set, and hopefully the boys will have a good win, and that'll certainly give him a lift. So we wish him all the best.
The Eagles hierarchy, Kevin, have asked to extend their good wishes to you. They'll give you a wave during the quarter-time huddle if you watch for it, as long as they're in front. As we go now to the premiership table, it shows Port Adelaide at the top of the ladder, the Eagles sitting in second.
Yeah, like you said before, big prize for the winners if Port go down. Eagles and Norwood, second versus third here today at Norwood Oval, which what looms to be a fantastic contest, David.
North and South really struggling at the bottom of the ladder. Everyone else still in contention for the finals. As we go to the leading goal kickers, Julian Burton sits atop with 32 goals, 15 after 3 goals last week.
Yes, he had a great game last week, Julian Burton, against Glenelg. But I think the important one there today, Matthew Pavlik at centre-half forward, notably, not full forward. He's managed to come up with 27 goals this year, so he's had an outstanding season thus far.
We'll have him today at centre-half forward for the Eagles. These sides met 3 times in 1998. 13 points in round 4. It was 25 points in round 13, and in round 23 it was 51 points. The Redlegs holding sway there. They haven't met Paisy at all this year.
Yeah, that was my point. I mean, very interesting. Here we are at round 13 and the two sides haven't met. So we've got no form between them this year to go on. But I guess we've all been watching them both pretty closely. They are the form sides of the competition, and this is going to be a great day of footy today.
And as we go to the Redlegs line-up, Michael Parsons joins us for the boundary. Big fellows, a couple of changes for the Redlegs with Harvey and Doreen not available.
Yes, that's right. It's like the computer man at work said, mate, you put quality in, you get quality out. In this case, quality's come out, but there's some quality going back in with Dickie and James, both coming in. 2 players that are going to fit into this side, no doubt, and give a lift.
Michael, the inclusion of Jason Marsh at full forward has certainly given some strength and some contest at full forward there. Have you seen his form?
Yes, we saw him play down at Port Adelaide a couple of weeks ago, come over from St Kilda just on the strength of... and he really did show that he gets after the ball. He's got a big, strong body and can provide a marking target. And that's the one thing that Norwood probably lacked. They've got a fantastic back line. I think Pitt is probably one of the most underrated and probably the best marking players in this league. He really does supply something on the half-back line, but it really is dependent on how that Norwood forward line functions with the players that they've lost, particularly Christian O'Brien.
It's a loss, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, he's been good at full forward, Christian O'Brien, strong, but the inclusion of Jason Marsh, like we said, he's come out of the blue being a friend of Anthony Harvey, slotted straight into full forward and really had some presence, so that's a good pickup for
Jared Cotton in the middle this afternoon for the Redlegs.
Looking forward to his battle with young Adam Pearce. He's been very good, so very important today in the middle.
As we go down to the middle, and the captains are about to toss the coin.
Andrew Rogers there, along with Todd Davey. Been important win of the toss there. I don't think the wind will have much to do with it, David. There's absolutely nothing out there. So, I mean, just important to get the first tick on the board from Andrew Rogers. He doesn't win too many tosses, so maybe that's a good omen.
OK, so they're kicking to the left of screen to the northern end of Norwood Oval as we go to the Eagles line-up, and Mark Nayley joins us. Now, it's interesting, Mark. We've nominated you our red leg for the afternoon. We've got 2 Eagles in commentary. You are our designated red leg hitter.
Yes, David, but just looking at Eagles' side this afternoon, we see a couple of changes from last week's team. We see Stephen Hall and Matthew Cluzak coming into his side. Stephen Hall playing at full-back this afternoon. I think Kluzak will start on the bench, but they replaced McGregor, who cut his knee last week, and Holland, who's also been dropped. But a very, very good side. I mean, we've seen this side a couple of times this year, and they're very balanced. Got some young players that coach Mark Micken has shown a little bit of faith in. But their big gun, all talk about this year has been about Stephen Plavlik playing at centre-half forward. He's been in outstanding form, marking all before him. But a couple of, just a couple of handy players alongside of him with Dylan and also McCarthy, who's only been back about the last month of football. He's been in good form. Across the centre, well, Ugrinik and also Pearce, who's been outstanding, and Darzanos, very, very quick. Across the half-back line with Shirley, Fruin and Rogers. There's none better in this competition this year. But their big gun is in the ruck lineup with Biggins, who's been outstanding, Colville, who's been in great form, and Chicolella, who's come up from the under-19s and played a little bit of reserves last year. He also has been in very good form.
As we go down to Michael Parsons for our weather report.
Yes, mate, just before we go, we're expecting a great game of footy here today. The crowd's pretty excited. Fantastic conditions, but it's interesting to note, although these teams haven't met, they've lost 6 games between them for the year, and except for an aberration in the first game against North for Norwood, they've only lost to Glenelg and Port between them, so you would think that they're going to play a similar brand of football on what should be a pretty good day for footy. Fine and sunny, says the man at the Weather Bureau, 17 degrees and just a light easterly breeze blowing across the ground. It is really a day designed for Aussie rules footy.
Thanks, Michael, for that. Donald Dickey back in the lineup. Very little breeze of which to speak at Norwood Oval, so I don't think, Andrew, there's any real advantage, and there is Matthew Pavlich, the young 17-year-old sensation at centre-half forward for the Eagles.
Well, hasn't he had a terrific season thus far? As you said, only 17 years of age, and he comes from some real footballing pedigree. And what I've liked about him this year has been his maturity. I mean, he's had every, guy looking at him in terms of recruiting point of view. He's had no lack of attention, but he's stood up well, and he has got a marvellous AFL footballing career ahead of him.
Donald Dickey wearing the number 8 jumper today. He'll be important for the Redlegs.
Yes, he will. Obviously coming back from Port Power, looking forward to some good form, and hopefully he has a good day.
The umpires this afternoon prepare for the bounce. Stay with us. We are live until 5. The umpires, Mike Humphries, Colin Rouston and Ron Bettridge. Your commentator is Mark Bailey.
Yes, thank you, David Mackay, and I'm really looking forward to this clash this afternoon. As we said, second up against third. As we see Newbury up against Biglands for the first knock of the afternoon. Good bounce to start proceedings. Both sides very good starters in this game of football. I'm really looking forward. You spoke about Pavlich before, Andrew, and also David, but he's up against Lachlan Bowman, a pretty tough nut at centre half back. First kick there by Newbury. Didn't make contact. Darzanos is in there to get hold of the football. Newbury towers over the top of Darzanos from the back in the middle of the ground. A lot of players around the ball just trying to match up and allowing their opposition to get in front position. Again they go. Newbury goes early. Biglands over the back. There goes Cunningham quickly off the boot. Taking back there should take a good mark. They should bring it forward. Kicking out wide. Look for Biglands. Good interception there by Dickey. Newbury comes across. Now Dickey needs some support. He goes inside to Cotton. Over to David, who slipped over. Kicking up the ground was McCartney. Couldn't quite make contact. Back again to Cotton. Back to Cunningham. Norwood go forward once again. Out looking for James. Good kick. Good mark out on the outer wing.
Feeds it off to Clements. The Redlegs have some urgency in their game, no doubt about it today. 22 going forward as Stuart Bound named today at centre-half forward. His direct opponent, Brent Fruin, as we go down to Michael Parsons and the Eagles bench.
Yes, David, just organising the benches here for the Eagles. 17, 27 and 31, Cal Kluzak and Shane Young will start sitting down. And on the Norwood side, Downsborough, along with Carslake, and right at the end there, just so I can get a quick look at him, would be number 38 in James Gallagher, the young bloke just waiting to get on the ground.
Thanks, Michael, for that.
Some versatility there in Downsborough with some height. Young Scotty Carslake and young Gallagher, we've seen him play some good games for Norwood this year, and they've obviously got some good versatility there on the bench.
Ian Downsborough, we are told, is on standby for the Crows, ravaged by the flu, as Damien Obst goes towards half forward. Fruin thumps the ball away from Bound. Picking up the loose scrum was Borlase. Now the Redlegs are very good in tight, and this time Philippo underneath the ball. He seems to have the job on Robert Neal.
Well, I can tell you why he'd be there, because of his sheer physical strength. And Robert Neal has been absolutely fantastic in that area this year. And pound for pound, Michael Philippou is one of the strongest guys going around. So I'm looking forward to that clash as well.
Ball's kicked in quickly, ball ace. Bounced over his head. Dickey picks up the crumbs. Goes around his body, over the top of his left shoulder. I think he's brought up the first major for the afternoon. He has. Donald Dickey brings up Norwood's first goal.
Very dangerous player, Donald Dickey, and his form probably hasn't been as what he would have liked for Port Power, but he comes in today, and obviously getting a goal that early is going to give him a lot of confidence. And young Spiro Darzanos, who's lining up against him on the wing, will want to make sure that he knows where he is, because one goal very early in the first quarter, not a bad start to the wingman.
Now, Nathan Bassett normally wears the number 8 jumper. So obviously the Redlegs hadn't allocated a jumper for Donald Dickey. They didn't expect him back this year, and the Power have given him a bit of a rest. Colville was slick, wasn't he? Cotton around the corner, bound, dragged to ground, play on, said the umpire. They're letting everything flow. Floriani, who was spectacular and tough in the last month of football, goes to ground and the ball forced across the line.
We just see there Pearson, Cunningham, David, both have been prolific possession winners for their respective sides this year, and that looms to be a great tussle. That's a matchup that I'm really looking forward to.
Biglands wins the tap. Colville gathers the ball, tries to get clear. Claimed by Neal and Dickey and goes to ground.
Won't be the last time you see Gavin Colville on the bottom of the pack. He's been terrific for the Eagles this year. Just his ability to find the ball, and with his running leg power, he's certainly going to be a big asset once again today.
Now, I guess, Andrew, you're going for the Eagles.
Be a fair chance of that, I think.
And Nails, you're going for the Redlegs today.
I haven't made up my mind as yet, but I just think playing at home, the Redlegs may have a slight advantage, but I might wait until about three-quarter time, I think.
You are a fence
See who's in front.
I think we'd have to be fair to the Norwood people. Someone's got a barrack for Norwood here today.
Cotton over the top. He thumps the ball in his direction. Darzanos is there. Dickey again over the top of the football. Crouch comes in, breaks through the tackle. Great work by Rogers in tight. Gives it across to Colville. Colville goes out for Pavlik. It was held without the football, umpire. Umpire calls play on. Going for the safety of the boundary line is Pitt.
Well, he certainly got plenty of attention then, young Matthew Pavlik, and that's not going to be the last time that's going to happen. Certainly hasn't gone unnoticed with his form this year, and every opponent is just going to make sure that he's got to earn every kick as hard as he can. Cunningham
steals it away, goes over the top. Dillon was in the way, got fingertips to it. Clements claimed the ball and held it, but he didn't have the chance to dispose of it, said the umpire. We're 5.5 minutes into the first quarter at Norwood Oval.
Excellent tackle there in close. Both sides just trying to gain a little ascendancy. Nothing in it at the moment.
Ubery, wide. Stolen away by Ciccolello, high possession gatherer this season for the Eagles. Pitt was very clever. Grubbers that one towards Cunningham was clever skills. Keeps the ball in place. Ciccolello comes back inboard. Slick one to Wheel and a high bomb to the point of the square. A very disciplined click, and it's a push and shove and a free kick. It's the Redlegs against Wiggins, says the umpire.
Didn't see that. Wiggins was in front.
Oh, come on, Houston, don't be biased, please. It was definitely there. Seamus pushed him away.
That's insane.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't much here, I must agree.
That is insane.
Wasn't even did not even lay a hand on it.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Well, that's cost the Eagles a goal.
I mean, you're told to play in front. He's done that. He's had a free kick against him.
Oh, there must have been something before the replay that we didn't see. Unbelievable. Clements from half-back. Spears it forward. Fruin, who's been in terrific form this season.
Versatility, he matches up well down there. He's just got height, strength and mobility. And
Rogers ignored McCarthy, goes straight down the centre to Whelan. The handball's to Dillon. He had to wait and hold it. Clements tackled him. Gets it away to McCarthy. Dickey and McCarthy go hard at it. Oh, Dickey was solid in the tackle. Now it's Dillon who tries a grubber towards Wiggins. It ricochets forward. Here comes Dillon. Good work, the defence. And that's Fleming. Desperate work towards the line.
Fleming and Pitt been very, very strong in defence so far. A couple of very, very important touches. See a young fan in Eagles colours there, blue and yellow. Looking forward to a great day that we've got here at Norwood Oval.
Great chat by Ubery down to Crouch. Crouch quickly onto his boot, goes up forward, coming through his ball ace, gives the hands inside to Cotton. He goes further inside to Cunningham. Cunningham's hit as he's given the kick by Big Biglands. He's hurt Cunningham. Well, I'm sure once he looks up and sees that number 40 up forward in March, he's got the free kick inside 50. You rub his head.
Certainly fair. I mean, he had the elbow tucked in. He was just a little bit late on it, and the Cunningham had disposed of the ball, and that's why there was the 50, obviously, but there was no maliciousness in it whatsoever.
They would be conscious, Mark, of how important Cunningham is to the Redlegs.
Yes, but this must cost him a goal. Marsh, he's inside 50, 45-degree angle. He's put the ball out right. It stays out there. So behind to the big full forward.
Certainly some promising signs there for Norwood. They ran the ball beautifully through midfield there, with Cotton getting his hands on it early, along with Cunningham, who just runs all day. And he's a player that will have to be kept under wraps by the Eagles today.
Yes, we saw Marsh on debut, Mark, against Port Adelaide at Albany. He was very impressive that day. He's averaged 3 goals a game for the Redlegs. He's given them some toughness in their forward line. Bigland's up. Oh, here comes Cunningham. Now, he is feeling the effects.
Been hit again, but he was in the right spot, wasn't he? Front and square. He got his hands on the ball first. Biglands did the right thing, brought the ball to the front, and then where every true rover should be was right in front of the pack. So Cunningham, he's obviously switched right on today.
When the Redlegs are playing well, Cunningham's playing well. He's pivotal to their chances in this year's finals. Cotton playing well out of the middle. Possession number 3 early for him. Around the corner and getting the kick dispatched forward was Kemp. Now it's Neal. Slick handball to ball ace. Caught on the boundary line. Centres it up to the point of the square. Hall and Rogers. Marsh was too strong. Kept his footing, the big fellow. Brings it back inboard. Kemp around the corner. Snaps, but it's cut off beautifully. It's Shirley relieving the pressure for the Eagles' defence.
Chance here for Colville. He has got Pearce up forward. Good pace there shown there by Colville. Colville takes a run. Goes up towards Dillon. Dillon has a fly from behind. The support's there again. Dillon just too quick. Too quick for this Eagles forward line. He goes for the top of the square. Where is Pavlik? Where's McCarthy? Neither player getting their hands on the football. And behind
I think we just saw nails there, where the Eagles have been so strong this year. Got rid of the slow guy who's retired, and just pace there from Colville, and also Dillon just tore away from their opponents, and he put the ball to the top of the square, but unfortunately they couldn't score a goal.
Well, it's started at a cracking pace, hasn't it? Bowman misses that one. It goes to ground. Pearce fights hard for the ball. It just wobbles out. Now, the umpires have been instructed today that if players jump on the ball, it's a free kick. We haven't seen much of that this year. It is the rule, of course. They've just been told to interpret it a little more proficiently, I guess.
Oh, exactly what they're trying to do is just keep the ball moving, keep it free-flowing. And, I mean, blokes are going to sit on and hatch it, then they've got to pay the penalty. Let's get it going. I think people want to see a free-flowing game that's going to move on.
Yerbury wins the tap again. Over the top of it, Yerbury's second effort coming back over the top of Sicolella was good. We're 10.5 minutes in. The Redlegs are 7 points. The Eagles are 1 point.
Sicolella's form's been real good this year too for the Eagles. He, along with Colville, have been prominent in the middle. Just be able to get their hands on it week in, week out, and do something with it as well.
Wiggins won the tap ball. A's got it forward. Cunningham with a little nudge. Forces the ball forward. Robert Neal. Filippo claimed him in the tackle. Good work, Darzanos. Oh, he got away from Cunningham terribly easily. This fellow is a speed machine, and around the corner goes the kick. But I guess if there's perhaps a flaw in his game, Posey, at this stage of his career, it's his disposal.
Well, I guess on that occasion, certainly the option would have been to try and hit a target up forward. There wasn't one there. We see here Stephen Pitt. He's just filling that gap there at half-back, and they're going to have to run over the lines, Eagles, to try and avoid that, because his ability to read the play is outstanding back there.
Now, see, Wiggins has come on for the Eagles. We see Davey going through, looking up forward. A great kick by Davey. He's found Marsh. And that is just beautiful football to watch.
See the perfect kick into the corridor, brought it back through the middle, and a good lead, but every full forward loves to get him there.
So I just see Biglands has been moved, it looks like, to full forwards. A bit of a mismatch up there as we watch March go for the kick. Marsh has put it high again. He goes right. Will it make the distance? I don't think it will. The mark is missed there by Wiggins. Very interesting back there. I think it's Fleming's now picking up Biglands. It's actually Bassett.
31, that's Scott Bassett. Yeah, I mean, that's a luxury that Mark Micken's got, having both of his ruckmen back in the side in Wiggins and Biglands.
Well, he's giving him 8 centimetres.
Well, they're going to be pretty hard to match up. I mean, both of them are 6'4", 6'5".
Now there is a keen Redleg.
Yes, I think he's seen a few games in his time, David.
You would imagine so. Wiggins. Oh, Cunningham was extraordinary. Very quick hands, but misses on the snap.
once again in the right spot, wasn't he? And they knew where he was, and there he was, a true rover again. Ball straight onto the boot, but couldn't find it. Eagles players have got to make sure they're inside of their opponents.
Hall kicks into Floriani. Umpire calls play on. Ciccarella takes it now. He looks out towards the grandstand wing. Out in front's McCarthy. Solid mark in front of Pitt. We talk about contests this afternoon. Look at this one. 25 metres. He's looking for the deliberate trip. This could be 50.
That's a great matchup, and what a fantastic mark in front of his eyes, John McCarthy. Luxury Mark Micken again of having two key forwards.
Well, while we've got a moment, David, on the outer wing, we've got two of the species in the competition. We've got Obst up against Ugritic. That's going to be worth watching as well this afternoon. We see McCartney now. He's been brought inside of 50. He'll kick from around about 45. Virtually directly in front.
What about Darzanos and Dickey on the other wing?
Oh, it's good. McCartney, 3 or 4 steps, puts it high up towards Ford. He too has pushed it right. That's a second behind to the Eagles. They'll trail Norwood now, 1-2-8. The Eagles 2 behind.
From fullback. Oh, Pavlich was terrific. Big fly, big mark. He's as strong as an ox. Oh, what a clever kick. Good vision. Dillon in the square. A perfectly weighted kick.
Just a fantastic piece of team play. Mark Micken's always been hot on keeping the ball in the forward line from the points. Pavlich takes a strong mark, gets the ball on quickly to his other mate who kicked 6 goals last week in Jason Dillon. And that's just terrific play from the Eagles.
6 against South Adelaide. He played a lot of reserves football for Port Adelaide. But hasn't he been a terrific pickup? Really cemented his place in this Eagles lineup. He is exciting. And that's his first.
He's just another player that the Eagles have been able to bring into the side with real genuine speed. And just, we saw there, he played almost the second option, called it long into the square, and Pavlich's kick, long, hard and penetrating, was able to find him, and he didn't let him down with a good mark.
That ball came in, Andrew, no more than perhaps 10 metres high.
Couple of seconds to get there.
And the velocity of the kick is what made the contest.
Yeah, just a very, very powerful footballer, young Pavlich. And just the benefit of a kick coming in quickly didn't allow the Norwood defenders to get back, who would have been much taller than Dillon. And as a consequence, he was one out in the square.
15-minute mark, scores locked away, 1-2 apiece. Yerbury again, this time up against Wiggins. Another good bounce. Good contest. Yerbury just too tall. Good take again. Gives it back to Rogers. He moves it around. I think the free will be paid downfield. And it is. Cotton pushes it out wide. A good mark there taken. Looks like Kemp with Borlase. Borlase heads to the top of the square again. Uncontested back there is Wiggins. He takes a safe mark. Now needs to get the ball moving quickly. Kicks out wide, looking again for McCartney. He'll go up against Dickey again. Dickey gets his hand on the football. McCarthy knocks it out. Dickey's there. Great tackle there by Darzanos. Puts Dickey over the line.
Mark Micken's going to be very fortunate to have Jeff Wiggins back in a little bit of form. He's been down this year, and Biglands has taken over the #1 ruck spot. But already this game, he's just been able to get his hands on it a few times and coming back and dropping in the back play there. Good signs for the Eagles and good signs for Jeff Wiggins.
In other matches this afternoon, Sturt and South battle it out early in the first quarter at Sturt by 5 points at Noarlunga, Central District and North Adelaide. Well, it's an interesting one, Mark. Scores locked away.
Yes, I think the Roosters, they just need to start finding a little bit of form. Maybe not win games, but at least be competitive. Haven't been over the last couple of weeks.
That game's up at Norwood, of course. We believe one of the last country games we'll see for the next few years in the SANFL.
And that's a shame. You see Norwood come up with this is Bowen. He knocks it out. He's got Cunningham in support. Gives the ball back again. 43 was Yerbury. Coming through hard. 29 for the Eagles was Ugritic. Forced the error. Goes back to Wobbs. Again it goes back to Cotton. Cotton comes to the top of the square. Who's there for Norwood? Nobody. Ugritic takes it. Actually, Darzanos takes it.
Yeah, full credit to young Spiro here. He's just matched up on Dickey a little bit. He just ran with him, and he's been there for the last couple of contests, which is excellent maturity for such a young player.
McCarthy goes around the corner. Whelan, who's as
Well
tough
done.
as old nails, thumps it forward to Pearce. When you talk about tough, he's tougher than boot leather. Forward he goes. Chris Kluzak, who's kicked 3 in each of the last 3 matches. Clements, short. Cunningham, vital possession. He's finding plenty of the ball, Cunningham.
Terrible.
But the kick was a shocker. Darzanos did well to get to the contest. Battles it out with Dickey, who was very clever. Davey, the former Eagle, now a permanent fixture of this Redlegs side, goes forward, but it's Wiggins, the big ruckman.
Just see Wiggins again getting in the right spot. Last year, outstanding year in the back players of Ruckman. He's starting to find a little bit now.
Mortal Singh kicking across the face of goal. He's given the ball to Cotton now. Eagles have numbers here. Rogers goes back to Hall. Goes back to Filippo. Filippo kicks it high. Chance here for Colville over the back. Brings it to ground. Floriani's in there first. Ciccarello's alongside of him. He punches the dirt, realising that opportunity there was to pick the football up. The bounce wasn't good.
Just got the ball out of the danger zone. Colville kept his feet and managed to hold the ball in the area. They were outnumbered then, so that was a good result.
Northern Eagles scores are locked away. Pearce, Ciccarella, claimed by Cotton, who's working hard in the midfield for the Redlegs. Darzanos, left footer around the corner. One-handed attempt, Chris Kluzak couldn't bring that one down. Davey crashes through. Dillon chopped him off at the pass, but it's Clements, another former Eagle, and isn't he playing well? To Pitt. Oh, I like this fellow. Had a stint at Collingwood for 13 games. He's been dynamic. Dickey, clever, free kicks to the umpire. The ball will come back.
Just said that he dumped him after disposal there.
Well, it's not a...
That's all it was.
Early, when you really... it's an arm wrestle between Darzanos and Dickey. Dickey, I guess, is an AFL player established, and Darzanos is really...
Future AFL aspirations, no question about that.
Well, he wants the mantle, and he's got the pace.
Really is a position where both players will be looking to get a little bit of ascendancy early and get a bit of confidence up and make their opponent chase them.
Bowman to Neil. Kemp, the dark-haired player, towards the pocket. Hall was holding, cried the Norwood crowd. Marsh was slick, gets the handball out. James evades a tackle, gets the handball away. Fruin got him. It's tough in the clinches out there, but there's one for in the back. And Whelan didn't like it.
Bit of a ticky touch there. The Eagles were really desperate in defence to hold it in, and obviously just gave away a free kick right at the end.
Benny Kemp, the 22-year-old. Now, he had a stint in the AFL. Paisley with Collingwood.
Yes, he was another one. What a lot of players from Norwood have migrated over to Collingwood. Young Patterson, Scotty Burns, forging out excellent AFL careers for some time now.
Wiggins keeps the ball in. He's been a stout and resolute ruckman, defending strongly. McCarthy was clean bowled. Pitt, slick handball. Kemp. Whelan is just living on top of him. Obbs gets it away to James. A high one deep in the forward pocket. Bound at the front, sets himself. Hall thumped it down. Darzanos roves, and the Eagles relieved the pressure.
Not for long. The kick wasn't good by Darzanos. Kick back in inside 50 once again. Eagles player taken without the football. The umpire's called the advantage. This won't favour the Eagles. He'll bring it back. Good umpiring, Ron Bettridge.
Yeah, well done. Excellent piece of umpiring there. He saw Floriani early, but he couldn't break the tackle, and then he brought it back. That was terrific stuff. Young Ciccarello.
Didn't he work that well? Beautifully.
He's had an outstanding year for the Eagles as well.
Ciccarello goes short. Just made the 15 metres, 10 metres. Gives it back to Ciccarello, comes back over to Wiggins. Wiggins will go inside. He doesn't. He decides to turn himself. The big arc. Took a while to get around the big fella and just wasted the ball to Cunningham. So turnovers costing both sides this stage of the game. Marsh looking for the free kick. Back to Fruin. The handball's not good. The kick should come out. It'll favour Dickey. Dickey in front. Has one grab it. It comes back to Ball Age. Comes back to Crouch. Crouch heads to the top of the square. Where's Neil? He goes for the fly. Couldn't quite get off the ground. Back there, 33 is Shirley. Will go for the safety of the boundary line. Good work there by Dickey, keeping the ball alive. Again, they're in there. James is throwing around. Throwing the ball out there. Looked like Bowen. It was. The umpire saw it. Was paid the free kick.
I don't think there's any question the umpires have been instructed to play it on today. That ball was in that area for a long time. as we see Michael Parsons on the boundary line for an update.
Yes, just a change of the big guys from Norwood. Yerby comes off, Downsborough comes on. Immediately Mark Mickens reacted to that, and you'll see Brett Biglan's come onto the ball, and Wiggins, who's playing very well, probably move up to that full forward spot.
Good handball inside again as Davey goes back to Clements. Clements straightens the body, kicks up now. Norwood have the numbers. Good mark out front, Robbie Neal.
That's been his asset all year, Robert Neal, being able to get out in front with strong, powerful hands and one grab. That's a fantastic mark.
A prodigious kicker of the football is Robbie Neal. His first mark, his first kick will come up very shortly. He's had a couple of handballs at this stage of the game, but as I said, a prodigious kick of the football. This would be a training drill for him. He does his numbers of time every Monday, Tuesday and Thursday night, and again on a Saturday as he brings up his first major for the afternoon. And that's the Eagles' second.
Certainly has been a real power pack up forward for Norwood this year. He's kicking in front of the goal, like you mentioned, is outstanding. He's rarely he goes back. He looks so compact and so confident, and just kicked it straight through the middle. So very, very important goal for the Redlegs side.
I might make a comment now. I just feel as though Norwood in the 50-50 contest around the pack, they just seem to be having players such as Dickey and Cunningham, also Boardlace,
Todd Davey, another one,
and Davey as well, just seem to be at the fall of the pack at the moment, just outnumbering the Norwood boys in Colville, Ugrinnick, and also
young Darzenos. Yes, they have been able to get in and under, and also more importantly, they've just used the ball a little bit better and a little bit cleaner going forward. We've seen Todd Davey bring it in through the middle on a couple of occasions to the leading Robert Neal and Jason Marsh, and it's just been a matter of the side that's going to use the ball better, particularly on this small ground.
6 points the margin. Downsborough on for the Redlegs. And there is some thought that he might be claimed overnight by the Crows to travel to Melbourne. I don't think that would influence the Redlegs in their decision to start him on the bench. And he looks fired up today. Dumps that one forward. James over the top. Downsborough sidesteps Darzenos. On the left boot, goes towards centre half forward. B-grade bounce for all players. It sits nicely for Fruin. A hurried handball, and Biglan's just ran into Cotton, who dragged him to ground. Darzenos meets support, concedes ground. Cotton got through. Handball away to Cunningham around the corner. And underneath this one, Neal. Bourlaise on the left boot. Snappy rove around the corner, and it's bounced through for a point.
Yes, just a good build-up again by Norwood. They had the players in the right position. I mentioned before, the 50-50 contest where Norwood are coming out on top. All goes wide to find Rogers. Rogers will come inside and finds Pearce. Pearce looks for the handball. This time decides to go back. A healthy crowd here this afternoon. As we see second play, third. Does reward the efforts these two teams have put in this season. Heads towards McCartney again. He takes another mark. That'll be his third, possibly his fourth mark for the afternoon. That's his second. On both occasions also, looks like it has been penalised. It's a little bit of a flick there, Andrew, just as he had taken the mark.
Yeah, another strong mark there from John McCarthy. I think he just landed a little bit awkwardly well, so he's pretty sore from the way he landed, also from the little bit of attention that he got from Jared Cotton.
And in other matches around town this afternoon, it's South and Sturt, a 2-point ball game at Noarlunga Oval, and at Nuriukba, it's Central by 5 points over North Adelaide.
Pretty good kick. He's just outside of 50, so it'll need to be his best to score.
McCartney again will kick from the centre square line. Just goes over it now, puts it on its way. It's a tremendous kick. As he got the distance, we have to wait for the umpire. The mark has been allowed to Downsborough.
Couldn't have been too much in that, but nevertheless, a good mark for me in Downsborough.
So Downsborough plays on quickly. The option was Adam Crouch running hard deep in defence along the grandstand win. It's Dickey underneath it, but McCarthy with mark number 3 around the corner turns it into the corridor where Sikalella sits. He's been a busy rover for the Eagles this afternoon, and the kick is a beauty. Right on the 50-metre line, it's Chris Kluzak.
Just held onto it, David, didn't he? Put it out in front of the running Chris Kluzak and gives him another opportunity. He'll back himself from here. He loves kicking a goal, no question about that. And when he gets onto him, he is a deadly accurate long kick.
Only a 20-year-old. In 18 games, he's kicked 33 goals. He really is a sharpshooter for the Eagles as he kicks for goal from 55 out. It won't quite make the distance. And the siren sounds. It's quarter time with Norwood leading by 7 points.
Yeah, they just had a little bit more of the footy than Norwood, and were able to use it a little bit more cleanly and a little bit more effectively as they went forward. We mentioned during the call they had the runners in Todd Davey, also Jared Cotton and Cunningham getting their hands on the ball, and they were just able to get it out a little bit quicker to their running players and perhaps bring it into the corridor. And as a result, Norwood are just marginally in front of the Eagles here, but very, very tight affair, and one full of tackling and hardness at the footy. What did you think, Mark?
Yes, we just see a good quarter of football, and so it should be. As we said, the second side playing the third, and the quarter-time scores here at Norwood Oval. See Norwood, they're 2 goals, 3-15. The Eagles, 1 goal, 2-8. And you're watching all the action live and exclusive to ABC Sport.
Seven-point ball game here at Norwood Oval. I hope you're enjoying it at home throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory. Well, it's time to profile a Norwood veteran, Todd Davey, but he did start his career with the Eagles.
I started at Norwood in 1994 after playing a couple of years at the Eagles, not really looking like I was going to get a senior game. Spoke to Glenn Rosser, and he approached me regarding going to Norwood, and best move I've ever made. In comparison to probably the Eagles, and that's the only other club apart from when I was in Sydney, I find it more of a club atmosphere rather than just playing for a team. Always planning ahead in terms of what we need, and in terms of the facilities, they're starting to upgrade them now. Brodie's been perfect for me at this time of my career, definitely. I had Neil Craig to start with, and at that time of my career, he was perfect for me then too. He really took me a long way in terms of my footy. My first coach, Leo Brown, at Pennant Hills in Sydney, at the Swans, Greg Harris in the under-19s. And I think Neil Craig has probably had the other biggest influence on my career. And at various times in my career, Tim Johnson as well. I saw the Eagles play in their first trial game this year. They played against us, and they had a lot of these younger blokes playing, and we didn't know any of them. And I think the thing that stood out was that they were passionate about the way they went about their football. Possibly experience may tell against them, but I think they're pretty hard at it, so I think it'll be a good contest.
Well, I know one fellow who's hard at it, it's Todd Davey. I reflect back to a couple of grand finals where he's carried off on stretches, and I don't think there's anyone more committed than that young fellow.
He's had a great career since he's been at Norwood. Remember that clash with Simon Tregenza in the final? They both clashed heads, and
both went off.
I'll tell you what, that was commitment for him.
Yeah, it was great commitment, wasn't it? Well, I thought the Eagles started well in this match, Pace. The intensity in the first quarter was quite terrific, but there was I think a disturbing decision in the Eagles' goal square early in the quarter.
Yeah, we just see them, and obviously they bring it inboard with a good kick long deep into the square. Just see Jeff Wiggins did everything right there. He played in front, took the mark, and all of a sudden the decision was reversed. So obviously something that we didn't see in that, or maybe a little bit of holding on, but there didn't look to be a lot in it, David.
No, we got a better shell in the first one. The two players were just jostling, but I don't think there was anything in that. And that might have cost the Eagles a goal, to be fair.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, 2 metres out, you'd have to back him in to kick it, and yeah, hopefully the decisions don't continue that way.
I think Norwood would have been happy today to have Donald Dickey back as well.
He started very well, and what a great clash it's been with him and young Darzanos. Just see, this is actually the first goal of the game here, inboard in the right spot, and a good snap over his left shoulder. And he's a confidence player, and I don't think the Eagles can afford to let him get up and running too much, Donald Dickey.
And we pull out some accolades, don't we, for young Matthew Pavlich. But to be fair, I think he deserves them. He takes a big mark, he's a powerful kick, and he uses the ball beautifully.
Well, there's not too much about his game that you don't like. He certainly has all the attributes to be an outstanding AFL footballer. Just see here with a great mark, keeping the ball in the area from the point. But I think the point about that kick that's worth noting, he kicked it long, low and hard, and it got there very quickly for young Dylan, who was able to mark it one out in the square and finish off a relatively easy goal. So once again, we just see the attributes of young Matthew Pavlich.
Well, he kicked 6 goals last week and he's opened pretty well. Got the Eagles' only goal in the first quarter as we go down now to the Norwood huddle.
Hey, forward! When the ball goes out of our forward line and then comes back in again, you've got to push out and get in your positions quicker. You know, every time you kick you back in, there's still a big group of players. So make a real thing about pushing out and getting in your positions. So if you run the ball straight back in again, we're going to have some space there. You know, instead of a big bunch, you've just got to compete like crazy, set up forward. You know, the big leagues are going to drop back with it. Just crash it on, bring the ball to ground, because these blokes are frightening the shit out of them at ground level. So what we're going to do is get the ball to ground level off them.
And as is Peter Rhodes' normal process there, breaking his players up into a group and letting the backs, the forwards and the on-ballers and centre players talk amongst themselves and get themselves organised. It was interesting before he did that, though. He did send the captain for the day in Todd Davey out to the umpires to have a word. I wonder what that could have been about. Mark Micken, on the other hand, he was pretty pleased with what he saw, felt that there was good pressure in the game. He said there's probably more pressure today than they've been used to. Don't be too cute with it. Don't worry about that little second handball. Just get it on its way. Felt that they could raise the bar a little bit on the off-hands department, but all in all, he's pretty pleased with what's going on.
As he would be. They've had 5 scoring shots. The Eagles have managed 3. So we go to the quarter-time scoreboard here at Norwood Oval with the Redlegs 2 goals, 3-15. The Eagles 1 goal, 2. Mark Daly, goal scorers for the Redlegs.
Yes, David, we just see there Dickey has had 1, so it's nil for Norwood, and for the Eagles, well, the only goal kicker there so far has been Dylan David with 1. And just statistically, we just see that Norwood have had 85 possessions in the first quarter compared with the Eagles' 59. Individually there, we just see Cotton and Cunningham had 11 and 10 respectively, and for the Eagles, Sikalella's had 10. And on the big clash, we've got Dickey with 7 possessions and Dan Zanas with 6, and Michael Parsons down at ground level.
Yeah, with me, one of the bench riders for the West Torrens Football Club, Scott Morfitt. Scotty, just your big guys, I noticed that when Yerbury came off, you changed your big guys around. Any specific plan there?
No, not really. We're just trying to rotate the rucks to give them a bit of a breather. It may appear that way, but that's not what's going on.
You'd be pretty pleased with the way Jeff Wiggins was getting his hands to the marks there in the back line.
Yeah, he was getting his hand to the ball, but he was being a bit ordinary with his disposal, so we just sort of try to swap that around as well.
And any key messages from Mark Micken at quarter time?
No, just a bit more pressure, a bit more aggression at the ball, and see get our hands front and centre first up.
Fantastic. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thanks to the Woodville West Torrens Football Club for that. Quickly in other matches, South and Sturt, it's 3-3 to 3-1 at Noarlunga Oval. That's quarter time, and a progressive score at Nooryup. It's 4-1 to 2-2. Stay with us for the second quarter at Norwood Oval. Your commentator is Mark Daly.
Yes, and again we see Biglan's moving back into ruck. He'll be up against Downsborough. Downsborough gets his hand to the football. Sicarella comes up with it. Pushes out wide for Pearce. Pearce hasn't seen much of the football in that first quarter. Floriani, very cool player as Floriani gets it up. Great finger tipper taken by Pavlik. Oh, he's a little bit of class about this player. He just turned 17 years of age.
A lot of Mark Moore in that. There's a real slips catch and got himself in front. Long clearing kick from Floriani. They're both real good mates, and hopefully he can finish it off for him.
He puts it on its way. It's a high ball. It's off the side of the boot. It goes up high. Wiggins has a fly at it. At ground level is Davey. Tough as nails is Davey. Ball spills up. The Eagles should keep this in. Getting pushed over the ball was Dylan. Good work there by Cotton. Kicks it up. Crouch is in there also. Good tackle there by Darzanos. Again allows the Eagles players to keep it inside their forward half. It goes up and Colville should take a safe chest mark. He does. Colville looking for a bit of movement up forward. Heading out there is McCartney. He'll have a fly at it. Comes down. This time we've got Floriani in front. Back there is McCartney. McCartney now puts it back up the top of the square. Where is Pavlik? He puts the big hands up again, fella, and takes a spectacular grab. This bloke is just getting better and better with every time I see him. Look at that mark there, Andrew Pace.
Had the attention there at Bowman. It wasn't as if he was far away at all. And Pavlik just too big and too strong in front there. And he's had another great start to the day as well. Fantastic.
Yes, that's his first major for the afternoon. A good mark and a good goal. The big Stephen Pavlik. Sorry, Matthew Pavlik. Steve was his father.
His dad will be happy with that. There's plenty of Pavliks around. He comes from very good pedigree. Penetrating kick from McCarthy long into the square. And that's why there's every recruiting man in Australia after him. In front, strong,
Well done.
As we go down to Michael Parsons on the boundary.
Yes, Pavlik won't start on the bench, and we probably won't get him there, but Crowell, Matt Kluzik and Shane Young are sitting down for the Eagles. Yerbury, Carslake and Gallagher are sitting down for Norwood.
Thanks, Michael, for that. The Eagles go forward. Whelan and Davey. Gee, there'll be sparks flying in that one. Clements crashes through. Got a good shepherd off the ball by Bowman. It's a long one, wide. Shirley thumps it down. Here's that Shirley's got the job on Kemp, who was very busy in the first quarter.
He wasn't. Young Shirley, only a young guy as well from Wales, so a couple of years. We see there Matthew Kluzak hasn't played league footy this year, so he'll be itching to get on the ground along with young Crowell.
He's had, what, a hamstring injury, Paisley?
Yeah, he's had a hamstring for 6 weeks. It's just lingered after some real good footy last year up forward.
Cotton on the left boot forward. Marsh front position. Hall was robust from behind, thumping the ball down. Slick work from the Redlegs. 22 was bound. And going around the corner, Marsh just couldn't get clear. Dickey with pace. Provided a handball forward to Roger James, who's very quick, hand to foot. Oh, and he's made it pay this time. Well, I don't think there's a player in the competition quicker, hand to foot, than James.
They just made a goal out of nothing there. I mean, the pressure from the Eagles was good, but they just kept moving it forward. Dickey came in and got the ball out. I mean, you see a fantastic smother there from Stephen Hall, but they really just kept working, moving it forward. Like you said, John Floriani was on him there in a flash, but he still managed to get his boot to the ball, and more importantly, slot it straight through the middle under pressure, and been very unlucky not to play a lot more AFL footy this year.
Used him 1 week and then dragged him back.
Bounce favours Downsbury. He thumps the ball forward. Getting back there will be Darzanos. He crashes into Floriani. An opportunity again for Norwood. Ops goes over the top to Cunningham. Cunningham just dodges and weaves. Great work by Andrew Rogers. Tremendous mother. Comes back to Fruin. This allows again for Ugrinik to clear the football.
Ugrinik forward. Bigland's lost his footing. Stealing it away, Cotton. He's been very impressive in the first quarter and a bit. Boulays was tripped. The umpire said play on. Ops came crashing through. Couldn't get a clear run at it. Here comes Whelan. And he gathers inbound. Pierce was slick, clever too. Oh, well done, Colville. They're the two slickest handballs you'll see. It releases Darzanos, the speedster, to go towards full forward. Oh, wasn't that beautiful for the Eagles? And Kluzak marks inside 50.
This is absolutely magnificent, the intensity of this game, and the skills under pressure have been a real treat. The smother of Andrew Rogers and the give of Colville inside, that's as good as you'll see.
And Pierce. And Kluzak's got one, but he won't add to that tally. That one's a big one off to the left. Huge fly over the top.
Pavlik again.
Pavlik's landed on top of the point post. And that just about capped off a near perfect passage of football, David. Wipe that smile off your face. Yeah. You're excited.
Now, speaking of Pavlik's there, I saw Grant Eckert at Kim Dillon's 40th birthday party last night. He asked me to remind everyone that there is another Pavlich, Greg Pavlich, who played one game for the Eagles against Port Adelaide at Cleve way back in '84.
Oh, the free kick should have been paid there to Pavlik. He gives it off to Biglands. Pavlik was taken very high there at centre-half forward. Oh, this game is hot, and I mean hot.
Yeah, you're certainly right. The intensity's superb. Oh, just a little bit high late.
Big coat hanger.
Very unlucky. Only one reason why you mentioned that comment before, David, you wanted to tell the viewers that Kim Dillon had actually turned 40.
Actually,
the only reason you said that.
I'd love to tell him he turned 50.
A bad man.
Well, he was pretty happy to be alive at 40. I can promise you that, Kim Dillon. Led a very hard life. Oh, Downsborough. That was a lucky mark, but he
fell into his hands, David.
Well, you've got to still take them, don't you? And he did everything right. Kept his eye on the ball. Davey towards half forward. They're playing a little wide, the Redlegs. They're normally direct here at Norwood Oval, but the Eagles' pressure in the midfield is forcing them wide.
That's the exact reason why. I mean, the pressure and the chase from the Eagle forward made him go wide. Young Gallagher there, keen to get on.
21 plays 16 with a 6.5 minute mark into the second quarter. It's a fantastic display of SANFL football. It's a high ball, comes to the ground. Dickey just feeds it off there to Crouch. The umpire's picked it up. I was about to say a throw.
I was going to say, this is probably the best game we've seen this year, Mark.
It is. It's good. This is up to one of the best game we've seen for a couple of years. Again, we see Ugrinik puts it high. 2-on-1 here. At the back was Downsborough. Got his hands to the football. Again at ground level, we see Cunningham giving it off there to Kemp. He goes back to Pitt. Pitt low and direct, looking for ball ace or Crouch. Neither player could take it. The Eagles defence will look for the safety of the boundary line. Eventually it goes out and over.
I've seen a few turnovers here, but the reason for that is just the pressure. The pressure on the guy disposing of the footy and the pressure up the ground has just been absolutely fantastic here.
I think you're enjoying this game at home throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory, live on the ABC network. This is a big one. Cicolella. Well, it was an ungainly kick. He was off balance, and it's out of bounds on the full.
He was on the wrong side, and the ball just trickled over there. We just see a very good crowd here today at Norwood Oval. They love coming here, supporting their Redlegs.
Posey, I guess 2 versus 3, it's an important one, and the winner here today can go top. Obst, clever work, Clements, outside 50, forces it in forward. I think the target was Neil. Losing his footing was Filippo Borlase. Well, he just strolls in and kicks an easy goal. It was just so easy. Once Filippo lost his footing, the Redlegs were 3-on-1.
Yeah, be a bit disappointed with that one, Michael. Just at the crucial time, I guess he fell over, and of course, once you're on the ground, you can't recover. But more importantly, that the Redlegs had numbers there. I mean, OK, Michael fell over, but where were the Crummers? Where were the Eagles getting back there? And I think that's where Norwood have eclipsed them thus far.
Well, I've seen a couple of things today that I haven't been pleased with the Norwood players. The player running against the football, the player attacking it, hasn't been given that priority. We see Biglands knocks it out. Great tap out to Ugrinik. Ugrinik will take one bounce. The speedster takes off. Now decides to release the kick. Oh, Kluzak, uncontested. I think his player in Clements may have tripped over, which allowed Ugrinik, also Kluzak, to find a bit of space. Kluzak drives it low and direct, looking for Pavlik. Again, takes a great mark.
That's an incredible stretch.
They're just finding him in the right spot. They're really going out of their way to look for him. He's doing all the hard work. He's making all the effort. But why wouldn't you hit him every time? I mean, that's a magnificent stretch. One grab and just terrific stuff. And a good, long, hard kick from young Kluzak as well.
As we've seen, he kicked 1 goal this quarter already. The distance won't be a problem here. As we said, he's a very mature player for his age. He's brought that around nicely. That's his second.
Small ground, and obviously playing in between full forward and centre half forward. And why wouldn't you, with marking ability like that? Just see the squared kick there from Kluzak. Just laid it on the outside and put it out in front. It's a beautiful stretch.
At the bounce. It's 5 points the difference in favour of the Redlegs. The goal to Pavlich brings them back within touch. James goes to ground. Cotton struck roving today. Goes to half forward now. Bound to Borlase. To Neil. Shirley for the Eagles, claimed by Dickey. Here's Filippo. Under pressure, a high kick. Oh, Borlase took a million miles fly, just took off. Pearce comes back inboard. Cicolella running hard. Colville, there's some great courage in the run of these two players. Colville tries to set it up with a handball to Whelan. How far did he run to the Norwood crowd? Pavlich stumps it down. Where's Dillon? He can crash through and toe poke it forward. It works for him. The handball comes out to Kluzak around the corner. A snap. Oh, he's got it. He likes it. The Eagles are 1 point ahead. What team play, running hard through the midfield, and Kluzak finishes with a blinder.
This is magnificent stuff. I can't stop smiling, but we just saw the play inside from Colville and Cicolella. They are good mates. He just held onto it, waited there, and then went long to Pavlik. Kluzak recovered brilliantly here. Snapped it over his shoulder for a fantastic goal. But the running brigade, Cicolella and Colville, starting to have a real impact.
There's 2 other games being played around the state this afternoon. Down at Noarlunga, we have Sturton South, and we see there South 27 against Sturton 25. And at Norwood, we see Central's 25 and lead the Roosters 14.
As those who watch us regularly would know, Mark Naley and I always enjoy a bet on South Adelaide games. They might get up in that one, Mark.
Well, they're due for a win. They're languishing in the bottom of the table at the moment. They need to get off there.
Sorry, mate.
McCartney takes it, gives a quick handball across to Cicolella. He misses the bounce. It fell out of his hands. Kemp's there to put a bit of pressure on him. The kicks to the top of the square. Who's up there? Will go alone will be Pitt. Quick to give the handball out. Again, they come out further afield to James. James, normally very good with his kicking, wasn't good on that occasion. And the ball's out of the line. I think Michael Parsons is down there.
Yes, mate, right in front of the action too. Stuart Bound was in that play because he was heading to the bench, and Yerbury comes back on. So both the Norwood ruckmen are going to play on the ground for a little while.
I thought the James kick wasn't a bad kick, Mark, because I don't think he had another option.
No, he didn't. I mean, he had to go to the boundary, he had to go low and hard, and that's where it ended up. And I mean, from the Norwood point of view, that's a good result.
I think if you look at the players that are good under pressure, James is certainly one of those. And his effectiveness of his kicks has generally been pretty good. Dickey.
Oh, I guess you wouldn't describe him as a super quick, explosive player, but he's one of these guys that runs at the same pace all day, and his balance and poise under pressure is as good as there's going around in this competition. 7
possessions to Dickey, and it seems that the Redlegs have kept their wingmen on the same side of the ground as they were in the first quarter. So they've got new opponents.
I actually think it's the Eagles that have. Darzanos is doing a Doug Hawkins.
The Darzanos wing.
He's playing on the same wing all day,
Babbitt.
so he's aspiring to be dancing Dougie.
Kluzek. Ugrinik. Back and deep in the square. Wiggins couldn't get there, and Cunningham. Gee, there's a lot to like about him. Cunningham.
That's fantastic pressure, though, from Dillon as well. I mean, Cunningham in the right spot again as a rover, but look at the tackle. Look at the strength. He wasn't going anywhere. Great piece of play from both players.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of good tackles before on this wing here. We saw Pearce take on Dickey. Grabbed him and did not let go. Crouch very cleverly got this football further afield. The ball ace. Floriani may have thought he'd just taken a step over the mark. Made sure he didn't go any further. Ball ace. Now heads towards Downsborough. Has been moved to centre half forward. Yerbury into ruck. Comes out to Cotton. Fine Cotton over the top of the pack. Another goal there to Cotton. That's his first major for the afternoon.
Crumming of the Norwood side has been outstanding today. Their ability to get front and square and hit it flush. Just see there from Crouch, fantastic skills to hold on the ball and not cough it up. And then the crumming at centre half forward inside, and the give to Cotton was outstanding. Roger James again, David.
Well, we keep highlighting it, don't you? If we had a highlight reel of Roger James, and there's a blood rule being enforced, looks like Crouch being sent off.
It's just all about value for touches, isn't it? I mean, that was just a perfect spot to be.
Glad to see that black mouth guard of Jared Crouch. I thought he had a dental problem earlier in the day.
We'll have you seeing the form of Jared Cotton over the last, I reckon, month. He's been very, very good every time I've seen him.
I think he's got better, and I think he's one of the reasons.
15 possessions up to this stage of the game, and they're pretty handy statistics.
One of the reasons that Norwood are really on fire at the moment is that, what were they? Now, 5 weeks ago they were 7th. Today they're 3rd, and they're battling for a top at the ladder. I think his form and Cunningham's form and Harvey's form, as well as Neil's, has been a big part of that. Here comes Cunningham again. Through it for the Eagles. Well, you think about centre-half backs in the competition. That was deliberate.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty fair call, actually. I mean, he had absolutely no intention of doing anything else.
Smart work by Cunningham, and Cunningham just backed off.
Just let him go, didn't he, Mark?
It's a high ball. Cunningham again. Oh, great mark by Cunningham. Just eyes for the football only. And I reckon he would have lost it as Pearce came over the top. He gets the kick back in quickly. Dickey has a fly at it. Working back there hard with Shirley. Gives the handball across to Ugrinik. This allows Darzanos a little bit of space. Working it hard is James. James has got Davey out wide. That's the direction he goes. Now, Davey won't waste his possession. He doesn't. And finds ball ace inside 15.
Critical turnover there. I mean, Spiro Darzanos had the ball there. It went right. Maybe could have run a little bit harder and a bit straighter. Of course, Roger James got there, and as we said, a critical turnover.
There's 29 plays, 33. It's a 4-point margin. He kicks into the man of the mark, ball ace. Then again goes out looking for Pitt. Pitt will be taken on by Sicarella. Pitt again needs to get the ball out. He does again to ball ace. Good tackle from behind by Floriani as both players were going to the ground. The free kick has been paid.
As we go down to the boundary.
Yeah, just an update on Adam Crouch. Just came off a slight nosebleed is all it was. They've controlled that. The runner's out there looking to find a slot for him to get back on the ground.
Thanks, Michael Parsons. Ball A's. A high one towards centre forward. Neil jostles for position, but big ones. When we talk about players whose form in the last 5 weeks has been pretty good, including the state game, this fellow's probably been the best ruckman in the competition. Rogers. He just keeps winning best and fairest with the Eagles and leads them by example. Pearce, welcome back from Queensland. Hasn't he been important for them in the middle? Havlich goes hard out of Clemens, sells the dummy nicely, gets a good shepherd. Bowman just providing a little bit of space. Here's Yerbury, the big ruckman, run down by Dillon, gets the kick away. It's a high one, it's centred up, but under it Davey, who really never lets you down.
It's a classic Todd Davey mark under pressure.
Don't be with... Sorry about that, Andrew. The umpire has paid 25 metres against Davey here. Davey's taken the mark. The free was against Pearce. This wasn't on. He was running flat out, Pearce, to get to the contest.
Had no option but to run in him, did he?
Cotton heads up now for Downsborough. Good work from behind by Bruin. Back there again was Rogers. We know where this football's going.
He knew he wanted to put it, but the thing about it, he was good enough to disguise it. He wanted the boundary. I don't think there's any better player around that being able to do that.
Fellas, we might put Michael Parsons on the spot in just a moment or so and talk about the ruck contest, as he's prone to do, because I like the work of the big fellas today.
Now, can we just go back to that first goal, or missed goal in the first quarter, that mark was taken. I had a close look at that. Before he went to the contest, he had a hand on the shoulder.
Umpire's friend, Mark Noley, thanks for that.
So it was a good decision early.
We might go to Michael Parsons and just talk to us about the ruckman, Michael.
Yeah, you've got to be reasonably impressed with the quality of all the big guys on the ground today. Downsborough in reserve for the AFL game tomorrow, and he really has got a good leap, and Yerbury as well. Young fella that grew up in New South Wales and jumps hard and gets the ball, but as we watch them go to work now, and Brett Bigland, somebody that is playing a good game, consistently gets his hand to the ball.
Cotton around the corner, wayward kick, Rogers sits underneath it. Thanks very much for that, Michael. We've got four of the big guns, Yerbury and Downsborough, opposed to Wiggins and Biglands. So it's a 2-on-2 contest today, and we'll let Michael Parsons give the points on that late in the game. Rogers has Shirley short, uses the ball intelligently. They've had 3 possessions and haven't advanced 5 metres, the Eagles, but they've still got possession. I guess that's the name of their game today. Forward, McCarthy thumps it down. Front and square was Cunningham. That's where he is every time there's a contest. Around the corner, a high kick. Who's coming hard at it? Marsh didn't quite get there. That one fell out of Downsborough's hands. Phillippo loses it. James got through it. He got one high. Oh, it's a free kick, no doubt about that. And James will kick for goal from 20 metres out, directly in front.
I mean, he was going for the tackle, wasn't he? The arm just clipped him on the side of the head, and the umpire's called it. I guess technically it's a free kick.
Anyway,
but Andrew Rogers a little bit unlucky. He had to tack the footy hard, and he had to put his arm there.
Well, David, I think James today is just a little bit off with his kicking action. It's a couple of kicks I've seen this quarter just haven't hit the target, and you just expect Roger James to put them through the middle 9 times out of 10.
I think he would 9 times out of 10.
I know I wouldn't. Well, the kick's been brought back in. Socks down, jumpers out. Phillippo will kick it long. Heads towards Biglands. Biglands 1-on-4 here. Norwood, big men knock it back. Again, Biglands is in there. He needs support. It's not Biglands. He's standing alongside of him. Looks like Bruin with the football. Comes up, smile on his face, gives the ball back to the umpire. 34 plays 29, a 5-point margin still. Big thump over the top. Again, Phillippo's in there. The ball spills free out to Pearce. Kick wasn't good. Ugritic should take this, clean it up. He needs support. He's taken from behind by Cotton. Gives it to Downsborough. Downsborough on the 15-metre line. Goes towards the goals. Has it carried? I think it has. Downsborough's first.
It's a good kick from Downsborough. Hasn't been on the ground all that long, but he just sensed that there was an opportunity there to kick long and hard, one out. And of course, Robert Norwood, or actually, sorry, I beg your pardon, that's young Jason Marsh, was strong enough just to get Stephen Hall underneath the footy. And of course, it went through for a goal.
Out to 11-point margin. Ball be bounced down. Again, we got Yerbury up against Wiggins. So both coaches rotating their ruckman. Whelan's in there. Should have got his hand on the football. Obst over the top. Amanda White will come down and throw this ball down as hard as he can onto the grassy surface here at Norwood Oval. He does that. A good bounce. Yerbury and Wiggins, body on body. Brute Strength comes out the crouch. He's back on. Floriani's out wide. Coming through hard again was Crouch. Spills the ball free out to Shirley. Shirley takes this. He's taken quickly there by Yerbury. Good work by McCartney out to Colville. Colville, the runner, takes it and kicks now on his left leg. Heads up forward. 31 coming out hard was Young. Couldn't take it. Well done by Pitt. Great work there by Pitt. Better work there done by the young Dillon. Dillon, quick to get to his feet, puts it up towards Pavlik. Going back hard was Bowman, and Pitt takes the mark. Comes across the face of goal. Trouble times here. The mistake has been forced. Can the Eagles get hold of it? Can Norwood hang on to it? Now they interchange a couple of handballs. Comes back to Cotton. Cotton comes on board to James.
And any other matches around town this afternoon? It's South and Sturt at Noarlunga, with Sturt leading by 6 points midway through the second quarter. And Central, well, it's a 2-point ball game at Norwood with North Adelaide. Back live, Marsh comes crashing through, brings the ball forward, holds himself over the ball. Filippo takes him to ground. Crouch get the handball out. Well done, Wiggins. Back to Hall. Well, this is a tough contest, no doubt about it. And Kluzek, welcome back, Matty Kluzek, as we go down to Michael Parsons.
Yes, mate, just let you know they've changed the mats. Matt Kluzek on for Matt Wheeler, and he's already had a touch, so he'll be pleased with that in first touch for a fair while too.
Thanks, Michael. James finding plenty of the ball. Wiggins front position. Brings it down, but didn't complete the mark. Play on, said the umpires. Colville claims mark. And Matty Kluzek, what's... Oh, he just copped a heavy one.
He's got one flush from Bowman there, didn't he? I thought Wiggins had enough of that footy then to be paid the mark.
Ball comes out wide of Matty Kluzak. His second possession, a moment of a minute. Heads up towards Pavlik. The disposal there. That's 25 metres. The umpires are going to be consistent. Bowman pushes Pavlik's head into the grass here at Norwood Oval. Grabs it now, will dump it. Rash.
I don't think there was any doubt about that, 50. Well done to the young fella. Eyes on the ball. Hits through it very hard. Now he's got an opportunity for his third goal this quarter.
The Eagles players just need to keep their cool there. They're looking at getting one back on Bowman there. Rogers ran from the half-back line. Bigland's walked across just to have a word to Lockie Bowman as well. But this 50 metres has brought him within 20 metres from the goal line. He's kicked 2 already this quarter. Players mingling around, still pushing and shoving, as you can see there. Pavlik puts it on its way. The kick's not good. A bit lucky, I think, Pavlik to get it behind.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on young men, and that was a crucial kick for the Eagles, but you've got to say that he's given them a target and he's doing everything right. Pitt, probably Norwood's best defender, along with Clements, fighting plenty of the ball. Play on, said the umpire. Cotton caught underneath the ball by Rogers, just busted out of the contest. Cunningham scrang, play on, said the umpire. Rogers back to Floriani, who's a tough old campaigner. This fellow, Ugrinik, the speedster. Wouldn't we love to see him string together 10 or 12 games? And Shane Young, who's on the field. Oh, there's a push. Play on, said the umpire. Pearce got pushed, but comes back into the contest. Grubbers one around the corner. The target was Chris Kluzak. Handball out to Pearce. Sold the dummy nicely, gets it forward. Young claimed. Play on, said the umpire. Kluzak thumps it down the throat of Sicolella, who straightens up and goes for goal, but misses. It's a point.
Excellent perseverance there from the Eagles. I mean, they kept that ball in the area, kept it live, and Justin Sicolella, normally a very, very good finisher, a very neat and balanced player, just wasn't able to slot it through. But nevertheless, they're having a real red-hot go here and keeping the ball live, and I guess from Mark Mickens' point of view, very pleasing to see. Todd Davies been very, very good. I mean, he's got his hands on the footy on a number of occasions, and he's just been able to run over those lines.
Davey goes across the outer side. Look at the space created. 25 is Clements. He'll go further afield, looking out there for Obbs. Obbs will take this, gets back quickly, gets the head around, as he should. You've seen Downsborough further afield, moving towards the half-forward flank. He'll jump at this with Wiggins. Good work by Wiggins over the top. He's got the better fly at it. The kick's not good. This will hit Bowman. He should be too tall. He decides to bring it to the ground, realising he had players in front of the ability of ball ace. The kick wasn't good to James. James has Crouch. Crouch will go back to James. James this time will set it up beautifully. He does that, goes out for Cunningham. Cunningham been given 10 metres here. The kick wasn't good, it was high. It should be touched, it is by Hall. And Philippone falls through for a rush behind.
Certainly might be something that Mark Micken may need to look at half-time. The influence of Roger James and also Cunningham both have had a lot of very, very telling touches, and it may be worthwhile just getting someone to run with them.
I think Roger James is filling the hole that's been vacated, I guess, by Gary McIntosh.
He's just roaming around that centre square, not going too far from there, and you just know once he gets his hands on it that it's going to be a positive thing for Norwood and generally hit one of his teammates on the chest or a really quick give to a running player. 28 minutes into the second quarter.
Stay with us throughout half-time as we have a look at Port and Hawthorn, Adelaide and Melbourne, and we'll also have a look at an equal veteran, Downsborough. Up that one down. Dylan. Now, is that Dylan and Obst, man to man? So there's been a change.
It is. We just see Colin Casey and Scotty Morford there looking pensively, just wondering where they can get an advantage, shuffling the board around a little bit, perhaps saying, what can we do at half-time to bridge this gap of 10 points?
I think they'll be leaving that to Mark Ricken. Neil tried to crash through. Ugritic goes to ground.
I mean, obviously Mark's going to have a say in it, but that's the role of that type of individual on the bench. You know, perhaps see something at Mark, offer your suggestions, and come off playing an assistant coach's role.
Wiggins dumps it towards the boundary line again. We're 29 minutes gone in the second quarter. It's a 10-point ball game, and the Redlegs really have been very, very tough.
Their crumbing has been a real feature this half. I mean, the ability of players like Cunningham and Davey to get front and square of the pack really has been a true feature. We just see there again.
Well, Paige, you summarised the first half for us because, to be fair, I thought it was one of the most intense openings to an SANFL game I've seen for a year or so. Both sides were going hard at it, but at half-time, Norwood have snuck away with a 10-point lead and looked to be doing it pretty well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, you know, there's a huge advantage. OK, there's a little bit of difference in the scoreboard. Pavlik's gone back and missed the goal there, and there'd only be 6 points in it. But I think the real feature of the game has been the intensity. The tackling's been outstanding. Neither side has given each other an edge at all. And it just really has been a tough, hard contest. Norwood have featured very, very prominently, like we mentioned, a few players before there through the midfield. Roger James, Todd Davies been very good in young ball ace, and I guess they've probably eclipsed the likes of Pearce and Ciccarella.
So at half-time at Norwood Oval in this match between second-place Eagles and third-place Norwood, it's Norwood 6-5, the Eagles are 4-7. You're watching the SANFL on ABC Sport. Hope you're enjoying this one throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory. Stay with us throughout half-time. Put the kettle on, relax a little bit. We'll have a look at Port and Hawthorn tonight at Footy Park. It's the Crows and Melbourne tomorrow at the MCG. We'll also talk with Norwood Supremo, Glenn Rosser. And it's a hard thing to do, Paisley, I'm sorry. And Eagles boss Colin Casey. We'll speak with him. And as we promised you earlier, we'll visit with Freddie Bills, the great Eagle veteran who's played 330 games. I think you'll enjoy the vision from that one. But for now, it's back to West Coast and Port Adelaide last week, Paisley, and I guess a lot of good sides have gone to the West and got hammered, but West Coast got another scalp at Subiaco.
Had their chances for a certain stage there, Port Adelaide, but West Coast were just, you know, magnificent. Peter Matera had something like 20 kicks and Dean Kemp, and you just really think that they're getting back to their power of the early 90s. And of course, with Scott Cummings up forward giving them a target to kick to, they're a pretty formidable outfit, aren't they?
Michael Parsons joined us. I think a lot of people thought that the power matched up pretty well against West Coast. It didn't prove to be that way.
No, they were in with a show when they went across there, but as it was been mentioned, Matera and Kemp were just excellent. Treadray, I think, was shadowed by Jakovic on the day, but he still managed to take 6 marks. It says something about his quality, but really, in the end, the West Coast were just such a polished side, so strong at the ball. They just run out, and I think it was about 73 points in the end. A very good win to them.
You just see Jakovic there getting pumped up. I mean, I guess his form's been a little bit down this year, but he was certainly excited about that goal and just getting back to the passionate best.
Scotty Cummings finished with 4 goals, one right on the siren, and really put the nail in the coffin for Port Power. And I guess it's an interesting position for Port Adelaide to be in. They've had a lot of turmoil with John Cale, Brian Cunningham and the board this week. It's an important match. They're up against Hawthorn tonight. I guess Port perform when their back's to the wall.
Yeah, I guess from a playing and coaching point of view, they'll really put that out of their mind. They're not going to be thinking about the issues that are going on behind the scenes. Their form's been reasonable of late, and I think they'll give themselves a real good chance against Hawthorn this week and forget about the turmoil off the ground.
As we go to the Port Adelaide lineup, Michael Parsons, I guess the big story, of course, is that Warren Treadray has signed a 3-year contract with the Power.
You would think there would be a few people walking around the Port Power boardroom with a smile on the face after getting that one done. There would obviously been a lot of big money floating around. There's a lot of talk about the money that's now available in football. Salary caps going up. Treadray was probably really the first quality player to test what was available, and he's gone with the noble thing, I guess, something that is all about Port Adelaide and his sign for the next years. But there's some good players coming back in for Port Adelaide, so going across there, though, I think with Hawthorn, though, Nick Holland is just in some sensational form now. They're going to be on a high after their fantastic comeback against St Kilda next week. And I think Port Adelaide are in for another battle.
I think that's a fair call. I think Darren Mead, Paisley, gets the job on Nick Holland.
Yes, he would, and also another duel that I'm looking forward to would be Kingsley perhaps on Shane Crawford, touted as maybe a Brownlow medalist, and his form's been magnificent along with Kingsley's as well.
Mark Nayley joins us. The Hawks look a powerful lineup. They came back from 63 points down last week against St Kilda. Their confidence sky high.
Yeah, they have to be, I reckon, just at their train this week. I think their coach, Ken Judge, would have been pretty pleased with their effort after half-time last week, but they've got some good quality players. I mean, they're led well in the ruck by Salmon and also Woods and Crawford, Shane Crawford that is, playing as a rover down there. But their back line was sensational last week, just controlling their big players in Stewie Lowe. But it's going to be a fantastic clash, and I'm looking forward to the result.
Well, who are you tipping, Nails?
Well, I just have to say, I think the Power last week did pretty well over in the West, and I just think under these sort of conditions tonight, I think they'll get up.
I thought they struggled last week. What about you, Michael?
Oh, it's a very interesting one to call, but I think Hawthorn, they're just going to be on such a high, and I think they've got a couple more avenues to goal. I'll go with the Hawks on this occasion.
Fair enough. I guess, Paisley, there's some scars still for Port Power from the night grand final against Hawthorn.
They started the season brilliantly, and I guess they would have been a little bit disappointed with their effort in the Ansett Cup final. We see a rematch of that, but I give Port every chance tonight.
Fair enough. What about Adelaide and Collingwood last week? It was an interesting game. The Crows had everything to lose and nothing really to gain. They were on a hiding if they lost to Collingwood, but of course the Crows got home on some Jarman and McLeod magic.
And don't we like to see that too?
Savrocker kicked in accurately. I think that worked for the Crows. He kicked 3 goals, 5, and really could have had the game out of touch at half-time.
Had the opportunity to nail it much earlier than that, and I guess that's why Tony Shaw's been disappointed with such a pivotal player for them. We've seen Nathan Buckley injured there, came on and had a big influence, but look at McLeod and Jarman just teaming together here, and his run and penetration is really very, very exciting.
Nails, how long can the Crows rely on Jarman and McLeod to kick 5 goals each to get them back into a game?
Well, we see, David, it was mentioned, I think it was last week, how he wants to sign another contract and play out with Adelaide. If it's not Adelaide, well, he's prepared to move again. Now, that's what his manager, Greg Griffin, was indicating last week, but he's just class. I played alongside him at state level, and really he is just, nothing surprising me what that bloke can do. He can mark a football, he can kick a goal from outside of 50, left and right leg. I mean, you have to put him in the class, I think, of a Tony Lockett or possibly even a Gary Ablett. I mean, he really is just a class player. Now, he's only 32. I think he's got another couple of seasons at least left in him. And if I was the Adelaide board of management, I'd make sure that they get his name on a signature well before the end of this season.
Fair enough.
Big call, but he's done everything right. I mean, he's certainly been magnificent since he's come back, Darren Jarman, and why wouldn't you sign him on there for a couple of years?
Now, the Crows are riddled by flu. We are told that there are 3 players on standby, Brodie Atkinson, Trent Orman-Allen and Ian Downsborough. There are obviously 3 players who are in doubt with the flu for the Crows.
obviously, well, that's got those emergencies, but you wouldn't imagine Downsborough to come in if he's running around here playing for Norwood. Just see the Crows line-up there. Burton's been a real revelation, the jumping jack, the ex-Eagle. He's certainly given them some real versatility. And, of course, Vardy there, he's very important to support Jarman and McLeod in their goal-kicking power.
Michael, there's still some scars between the Crows and Melbourne. It was Melbourne who knocked the Crows off in last year's final series by 48 points. Yeah,
they've been close together for a couple of years. Very critical win for Melbourne there last year. This year they are lined up 3 wins, 7 losses apiece, and both clubs are struggling. So with Melbourne though, they've got some big forward lines. The Steins though for the Crows are good. Bickley's coming back into a bit of form. It's good to see Smart back at half-back. I think that's where he's going to play his best football. So Crows really do need to get a win on the board.
Vardy in for the Crows, Caven out as we look at the Demons lineup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a couple of key matchups there with Neitz and possibly Smart, and young Ben Hart and Neitz, and of course they're the dangerous, ever elusive Farmer, who really is a magnificent player.
Well, Mark Daly, you look to Melbourne and you look principally at their forward line that really could demolish you if you don't check them strongly.
Yes, one player there that's not playing tomorrow will be Gary Lyon. Now, what's Gary Lyon's future? I see there's a coaching job available at the end of this season at Collingwood. But as you said, David, they've got a fairly potent forward line without him, with Neitz and Swartz and young Farmer, who's no taller than what I am, but he really is a pretty exciting package when he gets into the air and also at ground level. But I think tomorrow's game is just going to be outstanding. The weather is going to be perfect for this time of the year, and I really am looking forward to a weekend on the couch.
But who are you tipping, Nails?
Well, it's going to be a hard one. You know, everyone's saying that Adelaide are playing better. I'm not convinced. You know, like beating Collingwood last week, I think my under-11 side could have beaten Collingwood last week. But I just think that the way Melbourne have been going, I think they'll get up.
You've got a very good under-11 side. Michael, Melbourne or the Crows?
Yeah, I think they got a win last week, the Crows did, but I don't think it was a quality game. It was exciting in the end simply because of the scoreboard. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with Melbourne again.
Fair enough. What about you, Posey?
I think I'm going to go for the Crows. I mean, a win's a win. It's 4 points. It just may give them the impetus they need.
13 players with the flu.
Carrot on the end of it.
13 players with the flu.
That's not going to matter. They had a rest Thursday night. They would have snuggled up in bed with a cup of coffee. They'll be chirping at the bit to get out of the G tomorrow.
And a bit of inconvenience for Bill Sanders during the week. He had to tell Collingwood to keep their hands off Malcolm Blight.
I don't think there's any doubt that Malcolm Blight will be with Adelaide for the next couple of years, and I don't think he'd want to go to Collingwood anyway, would he?
No, as we spoke about earlier, we promised you a little time with Glenn Rosser today. We caught up with him during the week, a man who has devoted half his life to the Norwood Football Club.
General manager of the Norwood Football Club, which encompasses looking after primarily the football arm, the coaching and the players, also supervising our staff, which takes in membership, fundraising, poker machines. It's also supervising the development of the game. So I've got quite an extensive role. My footy background goes back to my playing days through the 70s. I then was assistant coach to Neil Baum, assistant coach and coach of the reserves for 6 years. I was on the match committee through that period of time for a while, and after selling a business that I had, I was approached by Wally Miller, who was the general manager of the day, to see if I was interested in getting involved in football administration, and I saw it as a career that I would like to. So I worked here full-time for 2 years as the development manager and do all the development area before Wally retired, and then I took over from him at the start of the '93 season. I still think the 3 best players that I've seen play at Norwood was Michael Aish, Gary McIntosh and Michael Taylor, who are our 3 longest-serving players, and they were outstanding. The way they prepared themselves, the way I went about the game, and they were just fantastic players to play with. I guess I've got some old-fashioned values on loyalty, and I still place it's very important, and I expect players that play for Norwood, who we give opportunities to and chances to develop, to have some loyalty. And it's very reassuring that guys that move on from here still have a pretty soft heart for Norwood and are loyal and follow interest. And loyalty is something that was certainly important when I played, and I still rate it as a pretty important quality in a football club to try and engender that. I was involved in the second licence with the Norwood logical option when Port were granted the licence. I was also involved in the relocation of the Crows in those days to Norwood to set up an east-west strategy, which has still got some merit, but will never happen. And I guess now I'm concentrating on making Norwood as good a club, as successful club as we possibly can. The Norwood Football Club's been a huge part of my life. Spent over half my life here. Still a lot of my friends are around the place. They've still played football, and it's given me friendships that I think are with you for life. And that's the greatest, one of the greatest assets that I've had out of football.
And he was a pretty tough footballer, was Glenn Rosser. And a great bloke if you need something from the Norwood Football Club. Always very keen to help. And I think a few people might have enjoyed that. Well, the right of reply comes from the Eagles General Manager, Colin Casey.
Yes, thanks, Davey. The General Manager, Colin Casey, but you're taking a very active role. You're sitting on the bench. What is your role on game day, Colin?
My role is just on game days to sit there and enjoy the game and just watch and take in anything that can be used for next week.
It's a pretty good seat just to watch and take it in.
Yes, well, it's the best seat in the house, really.
It is, and you must be pretty excited the way that that things are unfolding for you this year, the results you're getting on the board.
Oh, a terrific bunch of young men, Michael, and you know, they've had a hard time last year, and they've just knuckled down and done the work, and the results are starting to show. Today's a great game. It's a great showpiece for our game. It's hard and it's fast, and it's nothing given, nothing taken out there.
And the excitement can only build when you've got a real young stud in Matthew Pavlich, and the excitement around that must lift the whole club.
Well, he's just one of our young studs. You know, Rhett Biglands and Justin Sikalella and Spiro Darzanos, Matty Wheel and Robbie Shirley. They roll off the lips pretty easily, and Matty's getting the accolades, but, you know, there's a whole team of young men out there. Even a fella, number one, called Bucky Rogers, is like a young man again.
Young man, I'll pass that on to him a little bit later on. But what's your position? What position do you take with the draft coming up? Do you really try to get the boys out there and hope that they get picked up, or would you like to see them stick around for a couple more years?
Oh, I think naturally we'd love to see them stick around for a couple of years, but we're here to develop the young men as they are, as individual and footballers, and part of our job is to get them to a stage where they can be drafted, and which is the next step to the AFL. So we'd love to see them go there, and they go with our blessing, and hopefully one day they come back to the Eagles and we triumph from there.
And the return to the club is still fairly structured, the way that the money comes back into the club when they move?
In that area, there is a monetary reward for, but but they all go with our blessing.
All right, Colin, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. I'll let you get back to that best seat in the house.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, he goes pretty well, Case, Paisley, doesn't he?
A team full of young studs. It's amazing what can happen when they get rid of a few old fellas like me.
Yes.
Not a bad place to be involved in now.
Clearance house, selling young players to the AFL. Not a bad sideline, is it? Well, we promised you in our footy flashback today that we'd introduce you to one of the tough men at West Torrens. It's Freddie Bills.
Always was in fantastic nick, Freddie, and he was just one of the hardest men around in his time, and played many strong, hard games for the Eagles, and a real legend of the game and a real legend of the club.
Now, this vision comes from Elizabeth Oval back in the 60s. Gary Window was, this must be after the mid-60s, so perhaps late 60s we're talking. You'll see Gary Window a couple of times in this vision. And Freddie's big, strong and powerful. Now, Freddie played 313 games, kicked 58 goals from 1959 to 1975. And have a look at this.
The drop kicks there. Just see that there's no houses in the background, so it must have been a long time ago out at Elizabeth Oval, but he was just really hard unit. There was a bit of Carl Dittrich about him, and just his ability to protect the players around him and get the footy was really outstanding, and he had a marvellous career with West Torrens. Certainly an icon of the club, wasn't he?
Freddie Bill still goes back to the club now. He's a life governor of the new outfit.
He is indeed, along with Malcolm Blight,
Bob Hank and Lindsay Head. And he was involved in that infamous 19th man incident in 1975 in his final match, when John Casson ran onto the field. Freddie was still on the ground, and the opposition called for a count. There were 19 players on the ground, and Johnny Casson jumped the fence and hid under a supporter's blanket.
He did. He was very warm, and the rest of the players ran everywhere, so they couldn't be counted. So that was an outstanding ploy, and
Yeah, John Casson apparently had a cup of tea there and everything, snuggled up nicely, so that was well done. But this is just fantastic footage to see footy in those days, and just see the ability of the players then was really, really outstanding.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as we do, bringing them to you. And at the end, I think that's what it signalled when Freddie hit you.
I reckon he ran into Russell Leavitt one day and he'd still be feeling it, but he was a big, strong, powerful man. And
Russell was tough. I don't
get
think
out of the way from that.
I don't think he felt anything, Russell. He was just Superman. Well, we go back to this match. It's a half-time in the match between Norwood and the Eagles at Norwood Oval. Pretty tough first half, to be fair, but I thought young Matthew Pavlich stole the second quarter. 3 big marks, 2 big goals.
He did, and he certainly didn't get any of them easy. He's getting a lot of attention paid to him, but true to his form, just jumps high in front there, eyes on the ball, long stretched arms, and he's just snaffling them, and really is just fantastic to see.
I mean, that eyes on the ball, front position, it's where every coach wants his forwards to be.
Absolutely perfect, isn't it?
What about his second one? I enjoyed that one too.
Well, they've all been good. You just see here young Kluzak brought it to the front. That was the one over the back. He just outstretched over the top. So he's just showing his versatility there. Can mark him in front and can mark him from behind. But I think there, it's just one grab. They're just sticking at the moment, and he's just so confident. It's unbelievable.
I thought at one stage, mid-quarter, the Eagles had lost touch. The Redlegs were running hard. Roger James was fishing out plenty of handballs. Cotton was creative across half forward. Cunningham was running. But there was one patch, I think, that epitomised the Eagles this year when Pearce got it out to Colville. Colville blasted it in long. Dillon works hard under the contest. Pavlich thumps it, and Kluzak finishes with a goal. That's the true team goal.
He just called it perfectly there. I mean, that was an excellent snap too over his left shoulder there from Kluzak, but it started from back there, and that was just beautiful running play from the Eagles.
Ian Downsborough, Andy, started on the interchange bench for the Redlegs, came on and made a bit of an impact.
He did. He's got his hands on the ball early. We just see him there, just laid it onto the boot quickly from about 50 out, one out into the square, and a good piece of strong work there from the young fella as well.
It was a good finish. One step, steady, bang, right through the middle. He would have liked that. And if you've just joined us, Ian Downs was on standby for the Adelaide Crows, who we are told are ravaged with the flu.
Well, that'd be an interesting call if he came up and played there. I mean, a full game at Norwood and then be expected to come up, fly over to Melbourne and then have an impact tomorrow. I think you might find that they might put a few others in front of him.
Well, if you've just joined us, it's half-time and the score shows the Redlegs 10-point leaders, 6-5 to 4-7.
Nothing in that, is there? Eagles and no win at all. We just see the goal kicker's head. Norwood really spread them around there. Downsborough, Dickey, Cotton, Neil, James and Borlase all with one. And for the Eagles, Pavlich with 2, Dillon 1 and Kluzak 1.
Mark Daly's been going over the stats, and the Redlegs hold sway.
You just see there, David, they're outstanding with their kicks, they're 101 to 89. The handballs were also favouring Norwood. They just seem to be, we mentioned that first quarter where they were controlling the 50-50 contest. The marks were favouring the Eagles. We come down to the hit-outs. Well, that's pretty even as well, with 4 ruckmen having a go at that. Centre square breaks were fairly even. Inside 50 were 29 versus 23, not saying too much. And just a couple of the main possession winners, Cunningham and Cotton, had 10 in the first quarter and 8 in the second. So they've got 18 up to half-time. And Cicarella's got 16, and he's had 12 kicks and 4 handballs.
Thanks, Mark, for that. In other matches today in the SANFL at Norlunga Oval, it's half-time, 5-5 South Adelaide, Stir to 7-5.
Yeah, Sturt getting back on top there, and we just see there Central and North. Central, an interesting one there, 9-2, 56 to North, I guess being the side that really hasn't been able to put it together this year with 6-4, David.
As we go back down to Michael passes on the boundary line, the players are out, and any noticeable changes?
No, we haven't had a chance to have a really good look at them yet, David, but the weather down here, that hasn't changed. It's still an absolutely perfect day for football. They said 17 degrees, it's blue skies and no wind.
You can see there a picture of the wind socket, Mark. Very little breeze. It's been just terrific conditions for football this afternoon, and both sides probably have played the best half of football we've seen this year.
Yes, we'd have to say that. Very entertaining game of football. I just don't think that the standard will drop it after half-time, because these two sides, as we said right from the start of the show, second playing third, we've got to expect this quality football to be played by these two teams. Playing at Norwood Oval, that's going to make a little bit of an advantage, I think, to this Norwood side. But the Eagles, to their credit, they're not letting them get too far ahead. There's a couple of chances there where they could have kicked away, say, 18 to 24-point margin at half-time. The Eagles came back. Possibly Pavlich missed that easy shot, directly in front. which would have made it fairly close there at half-time. But they're fairly intense. I heard a word mentioned there by a player by the name of Todd Davey talking about passion. Well, both these teams this afternoon are playing with plenty of passion.
And are you ready, Mark, at half-time to declare whether you think you might go for the Redlegs?
No, not at this stage. I said at three-quarter time, I'll leave it up to then. And I just think at three-quarter time, there'll only be a few points in it.
Well, Paisley, I guess, well, the Eagles have put Zanos to the interchange bench. We might get Michael Parsons to give us an update in just a moment on the two sides interchange bench, but that's a surprise.
I thought he started pretty well, actually, on Donald Dickey, who certainly has had an influence, but perhaps Mark Micken just thinking that they needed to run someone a little bit closer on the wingman. We just saw Obbs there beforehand in that quarter start to get his hands on the footy and start to move it pretty quickly. So I think you'll find that the Eagles wingmen are playing a bit more of a defensive role and will do in this next half.
There's the Redlegs bench. Gallagher. We go down to Michael Parsons once more.
Thanks, David, but I'm still walking up towards there. As soon as we get there, we'll come back down and we'll be able to tell you who's sitting down.
Thanks, Michael. We'll come back to you in a moment. The second half underway at Norwood Oval. Stay with us. We're live till 5. It's 6-5 to 4-7. Your commentator is Mark Daly.
Yes, tremendous atmosphere. I just had to walk down there at half-time, down towards the members' stand. You could just sense that the Norwood supporters just realising just how important this game is. There was plenty of people encouraging the players as they were walking off on both sides. You see the bounce here to start the second half at Norwood Oval. Good bounce, good tap by Yerbury. Gets it down, looking there for Kemp. Back in there again is Yerbury for a second effort. Coming out hard was McCartney. He needs support out wide. He's got it. And Pearce pushed it across. Umpire maybe should have called that a throw. He didn't. Dickey cleans up. Dickey now heads it back in quickly. Good work by Marsh from behind. Just brute strength on Hall. And I reckon Hall at this stage really has had the better of the duel.
Did the right thing there, Stephen Hall. He worked his way into the front position, but Marsh was just too strong in the end and got his big backside in the way, read the ball beautifully and took a strong mark.
Yet to worry the scoreboard here this afternoon has been Marsh. So Jason Marsh puts it high into the air. This will be a good start for Norwood in the second half. He's happy with the kick. The umpire's happy with the result. So that's the first major to Marsh. Norwood kick away now to a 16-point lead.
Jason Marsh very strong in the contest. In his 3 games for the Redlegs, he's given them a real target. Only won 1 today, but the bullocking work on one of the best fullbacks in the competition. He's been very, very strong.
No doubt about that. Stephen Hall's been terrific all year.
At the bounce, it's 7-5 to 4-7. The Redlegs just stepped that little further away. The Eagles will need the next goal to stay in touch. It's been a great first half. Let's hope the Eagles can get one and stay in this contest. Yerbury handballs it forward. Dillon claimed. Obbs got him. There's still some intensity out there.
And David, just while there's a breaking play, we'll have a look at those benches now for the Eagles. Crowell, Whelan and Darzanos are sitting down. When Darzanos came off there at the end of the second quarter, he did go straight to the phone and a word with Mark Micken, so there might be some team rules out of place there. And at the other side, Crouch, who had that blood nose, is still sitting down. Carslake and Gallagher are starting on the bench.
Thanks, Michael, for that. Davey dumps it away from Sicolella. Sicolella's been dangerous for the Eagles today. Out to Floriani, who has been a tough defender. Forward, and there's been a change on Pavlich. They've made the move, and Bassett's got the job.
It's a courageous mark. Back into the back, eyes on the ball, and really did take a great mark, young Bassett.
Kluzak's down behind plays. Yet to move is Christopher Kluzak, trying to get to his feet. Just can't quite get there. 2 Norwood players spoil each other. McCarthy comes down with it. He now heads. The kick's not good. Should be cleaned up here. It's not. Pavlik gets his boot to the ball. Up again there. It looks like Clements. Well, Dale Fleming at ground level. Up comes Shirley. Shirley just needs to pop it over the top. He does that. Does Robert Shirley. And that's his first major for the afternoon, and a good response by the Eagles.
First goal in his career, Nails.
Oh, looking down there, you're right.
First goal in league footy, and what a way to do it too. He showed real poise. Chicolella got it out. He came back inboard straight and had slotted it straight through the middle. Interesting thing there, Chris Kluzak was down for about a minute. McCarthy raised his eyes and looked for him. Obviously couldn't see him in the ground and did the right thing and boarded inboard to Pavlik. So It's a real good goal from the Eagles, considering that they had one of their key forwards on the ground.
Kluzak in the hands of the trainers. Oh,
Head.
Just a clash of heads.
He's dazed.
Yerbury and Biglands. Biglands wins it down. It went to Colville. Quick handball out further afield. Stolen away by Yerbury. Back it comes. Shirley for the Eagles goes forward. Well done, McCarthy. It ricocheted off Floriani and Dillon. Well, he's normally a good finisher. I think just a little bit of pressure from Davey forced him just to just stab at the ball as Kluzak comes off. That's Chris Kluzak. Doesn't look well.
Yeah, he certainly got cleaned up in that clash. It certainly doesn't look like that he's going to have any further part in the game at this stage.
Number 17, Andrew Crowell, comes on. His 13th game for the Eagles. He's gone up forward to replace Chris Kluzak in the forward pocket. But back with the action. There's been plenty of it this afternoon. It's back to a 10-point margin. Somehow the umpire has found a free kick. He's holding his jaw, Christopher Kluzak. Now, which way has his free kick gone? I thought the Eagles, the hand went in that direction first. And now it does favour. Nearly good work there by Pearce. Had 2 grabs at it. Good work by Neil. Gets his boot with the ball. Goes up forward now. Big Biglands kicks it forward. Gives McCarthy. He's getting plenty of the football in this third quarter. Again, Biglands is there. They're running in numbers, are the Eagles. Sikalella comes up with the left leg inside. Ah, great build-up. Great goal by Sikalella.
Great balance. It's his first goal for the day, and it really is a great finisher on either side of the body. A couple of really important things there from Rhett Biglands. A couple of little toe pokes to move the ball forward. Onto Andrew Rogers, who's been put into the centre by Mark Mick, and a quick give, and Sikalella didn't let him down with a great kick on his non-preferred foot.
13 kicks, 6 handballs for Sikalella. Playing a big game for the Eagles. As we go back to the centre, it's 47-43. 4-point ball game. The Eagles showing some real character in this match. And as we said, if you weren't with us in the first half, it was a cracking pace. One of the best you'll see. 21 was Kemp, an up and under kick. Fruin playing at centre half back for the Eagles today. Attacks, goes to Ugrinik. The Eagles speedster towards the half forward line. Oh, Bassett was good backing back for the second time in a row. And the umpire's paid the mark.
Certainly reward for courage, and Crowley might have just gone into the back of him as well, so that was fair enough.
You didn't like it, Nails?
No, I didn't really. He was backing back, going in hard. I reckon the spoil was on. He didn't actually hold possession of the ball.
Probably
I don't think you could, reward for courage, but you don't do that. Well, the umpire shouldn't reward for courage. Here's Bowman. He thumps the ball up high. He contested by McCartney. Flies high from the side. James read the ball beautifully off the back. He's hotly pursued by Shirley. Overrunning was Marsh, and that's in the back. I'll pay that one. The umpire won't. Going forward, down, then driven into the ground.
Yeah,
definitely should have been paid.
Both of them were out of play there, that's probably why.
4 points the margin. Biglands in ruck. Stewart bound. 22. It was Biglands who won the tap. Recovers. Good second effort. Kemp just juggles for possession. Tries to sell the dummy. Dillon corralled him. Now it's Dobbs spearing it in towards centre half forward, where Yerbury, the ruckman, feeds it off to Cunningham, who is claimed by Colville. Spins out of trouble. It's a high one. 4-on-4 contest. A big fly up at the front was Neil. Ball lays at the front square. The little rover couldn't get clear.
That's when Norwood have been dangerous today, when they've been able to bring it in board. You just see Cunningham yet being able to bring it out. Kluzak looks like he might have done something to his jaw. He's holding, he looks in excruciating pain. He's just moving around and clicking it, and obviously something just doesn't feel right there.
Well, it does do that. When you do get a knock on the jaw, the first sign is normally up around where it does attach to the skull. You see Kemp again. Quick hands to Ball Ace around the body. He's got James there. James just needs to look up and he'll receive this. He does that. Does the Roger James. Now, he's been a bit off with his kicking this afternoon. We'll be right behind this football, watching it all the way.
Here's the man, Robert Shirley. They just gave him a little bit too much latitude. Allowed James to move in. 1 goal, 1 behind. This one from directly in front. He puts this one high. That's a beautiful disposal by James, and that's his second. really has been one of the key players on the ground, almost if not best on the ground. Touches have been generally very, very good, and he's finished it off with a couple of goals. Young Ben Kemp on 2 occasions has been able to build that wall for Norwood and cut off the attack from the Eagles and send it back in quickly, and he's been involved in a couple of good bits of play.
Colville's got the job on Cunningham. Pearce has got the job on James. There are some crucial matchups in this match. Hope you're enjoying it at home. Biglands thumps it down to Shirley. Crashing through was Obst. He couldn't get through a wall of Eagle players. And the umpire will have another bounce.
Yeah, Mark Mickens obviously seen the necessity there to get some experience into the middle. He's put Andrew Rogers into the middle just to try and generate some drive from there.
Biglands comes crashing through. Yerbury thumps it down the throat of Cotton. Evades the tackle, feeds the handball. Kemp, 2 steps, a hurried kick. Really didn't have much option, but it's found Borlase just inside the line. Forced onto the left boot. He just points it around the corner. Into space it goes, over the top of it. Filippo working hard, heads towards the boundary. Borlase, clever hands. Oh, Neil claimed by Filippo. He ducked as he went towards it, and the umpire said too high. Well, you be the judge. Here he comes, dark, bang.
He just went in really hard, Mick, as he normally does. Robert Neal not down low, but back into it. I mean, the tackling here has been a real feature.
Cunningham there looking for the free kick, possibly believing he was taken a bit high as well. A good tack by Dillon. Cunningham having a say at the umpire. Where's the free kick? And they've got other games being played this afternoon. We see Sturton South, and Sturgeon's kicking away at Noongar there, 66 plays 35. And Norwood, we see Central's 56. North Adelaide still staying within a 10-point margin on 46. Back here, we've got Norwood 53, the Eagles 43, so a 10-point margin here also. We played 10.5 minutes into this 3rd quarter. Good bounce, good take. Yerbury's been good this afternoon, as has Biglan and Wiggins. As we have a couple of birds there feeding on the beautiful surface here. We don't see Norwood Oval like this too often.
Well, I asked our director for a shot of a couple of birds. That's what he came up with.
Pavlik on 2 there, couldn't quite beat them both. Neither of them could take the ball from behind there. One is Fleming.
As we go down to Michael Parsons.
Yes, Chris Kluzak has taken a knock to the jaw and just very sore in behind the ear there where the jaw, at the top of the jaw. On the other side, Adam Crouch starting to warm up. He's pretty keen to get back on, so I think we'll see him coming back on very shortly.
Thanks, Michael. Kemp had the ball smothered by Biglands, who's doing a good job for the Eagles. Borlase finding plenty of the ball in this term. Goes forward to Cotton, who had 18 possessions to half-time, if you don't mind. Shirley claims him. It's 11.5 minutes in and a 10-point ball game.
Crucial part of the game now. Neither side can really open it up. We're just waiting to see what will eventuate in the next few minutes, which is probably going to be the most important time of the game.
Pearce forced onto the left boot. It's a high up and under kick. Davey just took the safety first position, forces the ball in front of him. Good discipline, Dillon forces it back to Sikalella, who's Davey's direct opponent. Deep into the pocket he goes, but Bowman's marked it.
Needed to come in board there too, young Sikalella. Went to the boundary line.
Norwood have runners here. Fleming goes wide looking for Petjuk. Riddick will get to him. Should hold him up. He does that. Pitt looks further afield. Can see Neil giving a bit of movement as Downsborough's there as well. The one hand up there was Biglands. At the ground was Cunningham. With him was Colville. Haven't been much apart, those two, this afternoon.
Been a great tussle between those two. They've both had a big influence on their sides' performances. Perhaps Cunningham been a little bit more influential thus far.
19 possessions to Cunningham, 10 to Colville. Cunningham really just cut the Eagles up in the first half. McCarthy thumped it away from Pitt. Now there's a couple of experienced campaigners too.
Yeah, both have had pretty good games too. McCarthy, particularly early, had 4 or 5 marks in the first quarter. And Pitt's just gone top of him lately.
Yerbury, front position. Oh, it's won by McCarthy. Down the throat of Colville. That was a clever tap. Towards centre half forward. Clements drops it back underneath this one. He's good overhead and he plays on quickly. Misses the target with the handball. Bassett forced Well, that was clever, wasn't it? He got it out in the finish, the Bowman, who just crashed through. Here's Davey. Now Fleming again. They combine pretty well, this Norwood defence. They seem to have a very good understanding. Cotton releases Dickey. Claimed by Fruit. Well done, big fellow. And that's a... Well, he's got it out in the finish. I was going to say a bounce. But the umpires have let it go. And look at them. Looseness. Floriani, 20 metres clear, has Wiggins on the lead, and that's where the ball goes. Two hands, couldn't complete the grab. Bassett, thrown away by Pavlich. Now it's Colville coming inboard with the handball. It's Floriani. One step smothered. Pavlich, one step, high bomb, straight towards the goals.
You are kidding.
That's an inspired kick. An inspired kick. 3 goals to Pavlich.
What a goal!
Magnificent stuff. That really is unfair. Just to be able to put it on the boot like that and have that sense to know exactly where the goals were under pressure. Just a fantastic kick and a great result.
Oh, the desperation shown here. Look at this. Colville then goes back.
I think the real story is the quickness of hands.
But the desperation by the Norwood defence to force the smother, it's just popped out to Pavlich, and he's just gone blindly. I think he was going for the top of the square.
Just wanted to get in there long and quick, and I mean, when you're hot, you're hot. That's his 4th goal for the day.
Now, Yerby's getting on top. I just sense that at the moment he's getting his hand to the football, and we just think down here, we see Obbs moving hard for it. It goes over the top. It goes in towards the forward lines. Inside 50, Downsborough gives it across to Neil. Neil goes for the top of the goal square with the kick. Who will mark this? Cotton! Couldn't quite get to it. He's nearly down there. And what's the umpire's decision is going to be here? It's out of bounds. It should be thrown in.
As we go down to the boundary.
Yes, thanks, David. With me, the club doctor for the Eagles. How is Chris?
He seems to be all right. He's just had a whack in the jaw and seems to be more muscle spasm than anything.
Would expect to see him play again?
Yeah, we hope he'll get back on.
Excellent, thanks very much.
Comes up to it again, goes forward. Ball taken by James. James now looks further afield. Left leg, he decides to go that side of his body. Neil's got the jump in the city. Won't take it. Good work there, going back hard. Getting to his feet will be Rhett Biglands.
He's been able to do that all year for the Eagles. Just find himself in the right spot and take telling marks in the back play. I think the important thing too, from the Eagles' point of view, is they've been able to get to the position that they are in the ladder without Jeff Wiggins. And he's come back into their side to add some real bite, which has given Rhett Biglands a rest as well.
They've also got Pyman in the reserves.
Along with Pesh.
Along with Nicky Pesh, long-term injuries. So the Eagles are starting to take on a formidable look, as are Norwood, who are without Harvey today and Doreen.
And we just saw Grant Tanner as well, came back from Geelong, who was also in the reserves today, so they've got some very good players to come back in as well.
That's a free kick, isn't it? Downsborough, his leg pulled off.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, he's kicked one, Downsborough. A good snap in the second quarter. On standby for the Crows in Melbourne, so he might play tonight and be required to head to Melbourne. That will be very interesting. Deep in the pocket, Dickey, big fly. Kluzek over the top of Neil, forces the ball out of play, and Neil says that was deliberate. And Obsty's off. What about that?
Some fresh legs, obviously. Peter Road looking for some drive through the midfield. He's been a little bit quiet, Damien Obst. And Scotty Carslake, another ex-Eagle, getting an opportunity to do something against his old side.
Another matches around town this afternoon. We'll come back to you with that. It's 53-49, 17 and a half minutes into the third quarter. 4-point ball game. This, oh, well, what's this about? Somebody tell me.
There's obviously a free kick there somewhere, but Mick Philippe, he'd be very disappointed with that. I reckon he's done a very good job today on Robert Neal, who's proved to be an excellent forward for Norwood all year. He's only kicked one, and now he's coming up for really is what is just a gimme.
Neil has one, and that's two. His finishing is terrific. Well, he knows how to kick a goal, doesn't he, at important times.
Well, he doesn't miss, and it'll be interesting to see what it was before. I mean, Michael Philippe, as I just mentioned, has done a real good job on him, you know, strength for strength, toe-to-toe. Robert Neal, he doesn't meet too many opportunities to come up with
Well, they go to ground. Now there's just a little one thrown.
Just giving him a little touch-up on the left side of the ear there.
Oh,
You see the umpire was
absolutely
very,
pathetic.
very close to see that, but I think he was just brushing the dust off the back of his earlobe.
As we go down to the boundary.
Yeah, Chris Kluzak back on the phone to Mark Mickens, so obviously getting ready to come back on and just getting his final instructions.
Quick kick forwards, Pearce. Reading it best was Davey. Davey now heads out wide. You can see the movement from Downsborough. Downsborough takes the mark overhead. He gets back quickly. Downsborough. Great kick by Downsborough. Plays at the back again is Neil. And around his body. That's his third.
I think he's got Kluzak as an opponent, hasn't he now? It appears to me.
Looks like he has moved back onto him, but players like this just can't afford to give him a sniff. I mean, he's going to hurt you 2 goals in as many minutes. But I think that started from Todd Davey. He was the one that read the ball from the half-back line, came steaming out and found Downsborough on the lead. He took a good mark under pressure and got the ball in quickly. Matty Kluzak played in front, did everything right. He went for the ball to the boundary. Robert Mill just read it well and kicked truly.
Yes, such interesting, isn't it? 16 points when it got back within 4 just a few moments ago. The Redlegs are capable of doing this. I can't help but thinking when you watch these two sides, Andy, whether one of them is not capable of knocking off Port Adelaide.
We certainly do have both. And as we throw to Michael Parsons, he's
so
live on the boundary line.
It'll be Jeff Wiggins that'll make way for Kluzak to come back on up in that full forward line.
In other matches around town this afternoon, well, Sturt have got 20 points clear of South at Nollunga Nails.
It's not good. We see it Norwood Central 63, North and now 48. So the Bulldogs just kicking away as we see a good kick in there. Good chance for Bowman over the top. Well read by Dylan. Dylan needs to get the ball to boot quickly. He does that. Goes up. Good work in the last line of defence by Fleming.
He's done well, Bassett, hasn't he, since he's been back there. He's outmarked young Pavlich on 2 or 3 occasions, so that's been a pivotal move from Peter Road.
Bigland's at the back. Swings it back towards centre half forward. Stolen away by Crouch. He plays on quickly to Cotton. Well, it's been his best game, I guess, for the Redlegs today, finding plenty of the ball. Little nudge, Kluzak on Neil. James off the ground, heads towards the boundary line.
That was smart play. Just knew you had to keep it moving forward, but just going back to Bassett, Pavlich was terrific in that third quarter, and he's come out and really done well and marked well on him one-on-one.
It's hard to think, Nails, that Bassett's only 20. He plays really like a very experienced player.
Yeah, he does. He has been set for Pavlich in the second half. Coach Peter Road deciding that's the best option. As Pavlich was on top in that first half of football over Lockie Bowman. The ball's down again. Biglands and Yerbury down to James. James is tackled well, brought to ground. Umpire will come in and start again.
James has been good all day, and he's been well supported by the half-back line of Norwood. Have really been able to get back there in numbers and move it forward. That's been the difference this quarter.
Rogers looks for the handball out wide. He's found him nicely. Kicking up forward. Biglands goes back with great courage, takes the overhead.
Operative word on courage there. Kept his eyes on the ball all the way. Back into it. Great mark.
Comes to Cotton. Cotton moves across, coming through his Crowd. Crowd gives it out wide to Ugrinic. Ugrinic now will try to pace himself. He couldn't. He ran out of line. He was forced over.
You see his tension there. He wanted to hook it back. He knew Pavlich was at the top of the square. He just couldn't get it around in time. Ran out of boundary there.
The change has been made. Bigland's coming off. Wiggins is coming on. Cotton goes over, looking for the soccer. Over the top of the ball was Pearce. He should receive the free kick here. He does that. Young Adam Pearce. Over the top now. He's looking for a bit of movement. Pavlich came once. Coming out is Kluzak, who's come back on. And Pearce now goes for the boundary. That's going to be fairly tight. It's out of bounds on the full. Kick will be brought back in. Scotty Bassett takes it. The play is short. Wiggins is out wide. Wiggins will contest this with Yerbury. There is McCartney. He will stay down. Good work by Urban. Nearly got you. Well done by McCartney. McCartney now 48 metres, heads it home. It's up there. Bowman spoils it. It's a bounce through. It hasn't. Pitts kept it in. Now goes for the boundary line. Good work by the Norwood defence once again.
Well, they've just been a tight unit back there today. Bigland's enjoying a well-earned rest. 65 to 49. 16 points the margin. Dickey dispatches another possession. He's fighting himself back into form with the Redlegs, wearing the number 8 jumper. Borlays had the kick smothered. Pearce goes forward. Now Ugritic, 48 out, turns it around the corner. Good desperate work, Bassett in front of Pavlich, and Dillon snaps for goal, but it's smothered.
He's in the right spot there, David. Front and square of the pack, got it on quickly, but Norwood player just managed to get his hand on it and save what was an absolute certain goal.
Kick in. Goes wide now. Well done by McCarthy to bring the ball to ground. In there again is Pearce. Pearce just needs to hang on to it. He does that beautifully, does Adam Pearce. Great work by James over the top. Comes back to Christopher Kluzak. The handball's not good. It's put him under a fair bit of pressure. The umpire has seen the free kick. It'll go back to Shane Young. Oh, it was hot. He had to get the ball moving quickly. The kick's not good across to Ugritic. Ugritic's in there fighting hard still. Coming up with it was Cotton. He's round his body. Heads towards Fruin. Fruin takes it. Will be taken on there by Cunningham. Back there also is Rogers. Coming in late was Matthew Kluzak. Robbie Neal just showing a little bit of applause for the players up the field, just realising how hard his backline players are working here this afternoon. Comes out again. Defence is holding strong through Clements. Rebounding Wells. Colville forces the error again. Coming across, looks like the player again, and Young. Seeing a fair bit of football in this quarter. Dillon now decides to back himself. He's had 2 bounces. There's movement now by Pavlich. It's over Pavlich's head. Pushing back was Bassett. Davies in there also. Fell at the wrong time. Then goes for the boundary line. Pavlich needs to show some strength here. So does Bassett. Davey comes in late. They're still fighting for it hard. The Norwood defence, and they get up again. And it's out of bounds over the line.
It's holding the ball for mine. I reckon he had prior opportunity to get rid of that ball. Had no intention at all, but just to knock it out of bounds.
Gavin Colville just needed a 2-2 on then with that little pirouette. As 12 is crouched for the Redlegs. Going forward. Oh, well done, Lachlan Bowman. Didn't deviate on the line. Cunningham dispatches the handball forward, but Colville was very good in the tackle.
As he always is, Gavin Colville. He's a very, very hard defensive player. You just see Adam Pearce there along with Roger Dames, who's been very, very damaging. So Adam's just going to be running tight with him for the rest of the game. 15
points the margin as we prepare to go into 3/4 time. Yerbury down the throat of Cunningham. They've been a dangerous combination this afternoon. And the skipper, Andrew Rogers, marks at half-back. Squares it up, comes back into the centre square. Matthew Kluzak, who started the game on interchange bench after missing this year with a hamstring injury. Gives it to his brother Chris, who we thought might have had a jaw dislocation perhaps, but he seems to have recovered. Fruin gets the handball away. Dickey, long ball, Cunningham, finding plenty of the ball. Colville gets him again, but too late. The kick is forward into space. Wiggins caught underneath it. Roger James was quick with the hands. Now recovers. Here's a slick move of this kid. Neal, who's kicked 3, couldn't get the handball away. Pearce claimed him in the tackle. Shirley, Floriani, a high bomb. One step and bang, it goes forward. Pavlich brings it forward. Davey thumping it forward. Bowman around the corner. Colville smothers it. Well, this game has really played at intensity. Clements forward. Stuart Bound. Look at the tackling. Look at the handballs. And look at the intensity as Shane Young relieves a little bit of pressure for the Eagles.
Not much relief there, I can tell you. The Norwood forward line is trying to keep it in the area. Comes across now to Matthew Kluzak. He's got Pearce out wide. Decides to straighten up a little bit better. You can see Floriani. The marker needs to be good here as we hear the 3/4 time siren sound. Andrew Page, I'm nearly out of breath. It's a 15-point margin still, so the game really is up to any side that really wants it in this last quarter.
I'll tell you what, you've got every right to be huffing and puffing, as have the players. This just really has been such a spirited contest. The fervour and the passion that these two sides have gone about it today has just made it a magnificent spectacle. And some of the tackling, I mean, it really has been a feature. It's certainly a highlight, not only of this game, but I think one of the best tackling efforts for the year. There's still absolutely nothing in it. Norwood perhaps a little bit more open and direct that quarter and finish their work off a little bit better. And once again, Cunningham, very, very good, along with Roger James in the middle, just really set it up for Norwood that quarter, David.
And remember, if the Eagles win today, they can claim top spot. But if Norwood win by at least 6 goals, they too have a chance at going top. You're watching the SANFL on ABC Sport. We hope you're...
The season's hotting up, and this week West Adelaide try to knock reigning champs the Eagles from top position. SANFL live this afternoon. It's top football action. Don't miss a minute of it. 2:30 today on ABC TV.
It's not a game, it's footy!
And don't forget to get your tips in at our SA Footy website.
We hope you're enjoying this match live on ABC Sport. The Redlegs led by 7 points at quarter time, 10 points at half time, and it's out to 17 points at three-quarter time. Hope you're enjoying it. It's time to profile a young Eagle ruckman. It's Redlegs, a young Eagle who's having a big year in the ruck.
Well, I was with West Torrens before the merger, so I played 9s and 11s and 13s. Sandboy Cup with West Torrens before they merged in 93, and so yeah, good 8 or 9, 10 years now, including juniors. There's a heap of encouragement with Mark Mickham and being a school teacher as well. He's got a bit of an added advantage talking to young players, or the younger players, and I think he's brought the best out of them. And knowing the younger players all around the same age, we sort of tend to gel a bit better. Pretty ingenious sort of coaching style. I mean, I've appreciated some of his moves, being a ruckman. He's given me a bit of an advantage, but yeah, so far it's been working well. Like in 95 and 96, we were struggling a bit. I think the winning role we're on now, it's not sort of a role, it's a fair bit of hard work, and people looking forward to coming to training rather than getting sort of flogged by Bruce and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a bit of excitement around the club when we seem to win. Yeah, just have to get the supporters behind us. Obviously, family have a pretty big impact on your career, and sort of that's just how it's unfolded. You look up to you have admiration for our captain as well. Andrew Rogers has done a fair bit for you, and you learn a lot off him. Being the one, he's been the only captain I've been under, so he's taught me a fair bit.
Interesting comment that. Andrew Rogers has been around for a very long time, including your time with the Eagles.
Certainly has. I mean, he's been around that long. I think every player has been the only captain that they've played under, but it's great to see Rhett Biglan's really step it up this year. I mean, he was in the shadow a bit last year of Wiggins, and he's come up and taken the #1 ruckman's position and capped it off with an excellent state game about a month or so ago.
Colin Casey pointed out at half-time a fine bunch of young Eagles, amongst them Justin Cicolella. 14 kicks, 6 handballs. It's a three-quarter time. He's finding plenty of the ball and knows how to kick a pretty handy goal.
Certainly does. You just see Andrew Rogers getting it out there quickly onto his left foot. Very well balanced on either side of the body and straight through the middle.
Now, what about Matthew Pavlich? We've talked about him today. He's finding plenty of the goals, but he's got a new opponent now. Things are a little harder.
Yeah, well done to young Bassett there in that quarter to hold him up, but we're running out of adjectives of this young player. I mean, we just see great pressure here from Norwood. They still managed to hold it in, but the Eagles got it out to Pavlich. Floriani here found him and straight over his left shoulder and went for the top of the square, and it went straight through the middle. And when you're hot, David, aren't you?
That was his third goal, and he seems to be going pretty well, but they're certainly giving him plenty of attention now. Ian Downsborough, he's an enigma, isn't he, Pays? He came to South Australia from interstate to Power, Crows. They're really swapping him around a little bit. Hasn't really found his footing, but today he puts in a long bomb and he's really playing well, and Neil finishes beautifully.
He does, and he finishes well every time. But the thing about Downsborough, every time he's come onto the ground, he's had an impact straight away, which has resulted in 2 goals. So he's certainly done his bit for the Norwood side today.
No doubt about that. It's time now to go down to the Eagles huddle.
up to our eyeballs. All right, it's just been a bit frustrating watching it, and probably a bit frustrating playing, because some of the decision making once we get the footy has been a bit off. You know, let's get a bit more focused on what we're trying to do. We're trying to score goals quickly, all right? That's what we're trying to do, score goals quickly. At the moment, we're going in a roundabout way, giving handballs that aren't on to people under pressure, trying to pinpoint plays when there's no one to pinpoint, all right? Give the ball a bit of there and go. Don't be afraid to go to the top of the square, because look who's going to be there, okay? And he's going to come out and charge at the footy and make a real fun. I want to see what they're going to put on him.
Mark Micken, calm as usual, just giving his players some instructions there. One of the great things about this game of SANFL football is that the crowd comes onto the ground and gathers around the huddle. And believe me, the people around the Torrens huddle were really not very happy with the umpires. A lot of comments going at the umpires. I'm not sure what they saw that I didn't. I reckon they've been doing all right. Peter Road over the Norwood, pretty simple message, very similar to Mark Micken actually. Don't try to do too much in this pressure situation. Keep your work rate up. He was very happy with the efforts of Bowman and Cotton in that quarter, but really he says it's just about persistence now. It's going to go down to the wire. Keep at it, keep it simple, be predictable. Let's get a good win.
Pretty fair instructions there. Nails, I guess the supporters have problems with the umpires in games like this, third versus second, and there's a fair amount on the line.
Yes, David, just look at these two sides here this afternoon. You could not get a better SANFL game, I don't think, with these two sides, the way they're going about it. And it's just you see there Peter Road, I mean, he realises the importance of this game. He's spending a little bit extra time out on the field with his players in the huddle, just really emphasising the importance of the work that they need to do to bring these 2 points home. But also, on the other hand, I mean, we heard about Mark Micken out there. He was pretty simple with his philosophy about the way that he wants the game played.
As we go down to Michael.
Yeah, with me, the injured Norwood star, Anthony Harvey. Anthony, pretty good game so far.
Yeah, it's been, hasn't been that pretty, but the pressure out there is pretty intense.
And any particular instructions that given to the boys at three-quarter time?
Oh, it's just one of persistence, really. It's been a day where we've had to struggle all day, so if we drop 10%, they'll run all over us.
And your injury, mate, ready for next week or another week off?
Nah, next week I'll be right.
We'll look forward to it. Thanks, Anthony.
Anthony Harvey out with rib injuries. Norwood 10-5, the Eagles 7-8. It's 15 points at three-quarter time.
You just see there the goal kickers as well. There, Andrew, we see Nils had 3 majors for Norden for the Eagles. The big Pavlik at SNR forward, full forwards also kicked 3.
I think there, obviously, with Neil, I mean, been contained for most of the game and then came on and kicked 2 in as many minutes in that third quarter.
Stay with us for the final quarter from Norwood Oval. It's a 15-point ball game in favour of the Redlegs. We're live until 5 throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory.
Start the last quarter here at Norwood Oval. We see Wiggins gets his hand to the ball first. Coming up again was Cunningham. He's had 22 possessions up to three-quarter time. That's his 23rd. And the ever-reliable Andrew Rogers again takes a safe mark. He saw the running Matthew Kluzak out wide. His size now chip it in short. This could be under a little bit of a pressure. It doesn't. Good work there by Robert Shirley. Takes the mark, then goes wider to Filippo. Filippo just chips it up high now, looking out wide. Cow couldn't take it. The ball slumped out over the boundary line.
Eagles obviously know if they're going to get back into the game, they need to run and need to run from defence. It's good to see Michael Filippo getting up the ground and getting possessions on the wing there and driving his side forward.
As you've heard, it's a 16-point margin this game. Either side can win that. This contest, we're looking down there again. We've got Colville around the pack. We've also got coming will be McCarthy to take the ruck group. But very important, I think, down on the boundary to Michael Parsons, who's now lining up on the bench.
Yeah, some pretty good quality on the Norwood bench to start this fourth quarter. Obst Crouch, who has been an absolute star this year so far, and also Bound sitting down, the young guy that started at centre-half forward. On the other side, Kluzak sitting down. Darzanos must have done something wrong that we didn't see. We thought he started off pretty well, and also Whelan taking a breather at the start of this fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think you were right there, Michael, when you mentioned the team rules things with Spiro Darzanos. It certainly wasn't the fact that he didn't get his hands on the ball, but he's obviously done something wrong that hasn't fitted into Mark Micken's way of play and style of play, and he's paid the ultimate price. And hasn't got back on the ground since about quarter time, David.
Yes, he pulled out of a contest. It resulted in a Norwood goal, and he virtually went straight to the bench. It's a 15-point ball game here at Norwood, but in other matches around South Australia, it's Sturt 75, South Adelaide 47 at Noarlunga, nails you down the tube again, and Central 69, North Adelaide 48 at Nooriyupa.
It's good work again. Davey throws the football out. Maybe held on to a little bit too long. Or will the free kick come to Clements? It may be Clements. He does. He gets to his feet and takes off. He'll get collared here. He does that. Good pressure again. The first goal, fellas, is just going to be so important in this last quarter. Again, the ball's thrown out. Coming up there was James. Umpire just calling play on at all costs here. Keep this ball moving. Now, danger signs again for the Eagles as Neil's got it. He's 65 metres out, can thump the football long. He does that, looking up forward as Marsh, body on body with Hall, comes down the ball ace, around his body. It's a magic goal by ball ace.
The second goal. I guess that's probably been the difference today. The Norwood players have crumbed superbly, and they've just found themselves in the right spot in front of the packs, and many times that's resulted in goals. And young ball ace, once again, front and square, hit it hard, hit it flush, and a great snap over his left shoulder.
71 plays 50, a 21-point ball game. 3.5 minutes in, the Redlegs doing it much better. The Eagles need a couple of quick ones to get back in the hunt, that is for sure. It's Gallagher. Couldn't get that one clear. And we'll have another bounce. Biglands. Yerbury. It was Yerbury who won the tap. Gallagher kicked it forward. 30 crashing through was Scotty Carslake. It falls to Cunningham. A high one under pressure from Colville, who's worn him like a glove. And through and marks and caught one on the head for his trouble.
It's a great mark under pressure. The ball sat up there for a couple of seconds, and eyes only for the ball, and a good mark from Brent.
He's only 21. He plays like a pretty experienced defender.
Came over from Richmond and spent a whole season in the reserve for the Eagles. But he was given the opportunity by Mark Micken in defence, and he has not looked back since.
So I think he's holding their defence together at the moment. Gallagher, part of that famous Norwood family. Plays on, kicks it right into the slot. It falls. Carslake on the 50-metre line, rows it. Gee, there's no one within 15 metres. He straightens, no pressure, and misses.
Well, once again, they're in the right spot in front of the pack. Not too close to the contest. Stephen Hall's last couple of fists have been excellent, getting them away from the contest, but the Norwood players have just read it better, been able to get themselves into the right spot.
Hall brings the ball back in. Finds Pearce. But Pearce wants Wiggins to move. He now intends to go in that direction. Goes up high. Yerbury and Wiggins. Wiggins gets the better of it. He thumps the ball back in only as far as Cotton. Cotton gets around Colville very easily and heads home for the kick. Good work there again by Fruin. Takes the ball back from Shirley, then runs through the middle of the field, puts it up for Pavlik. Pavlik again taken high, then Collett again. The umpire's got to pay the man going for the ball. In that case, it was Pavlik. Pearce needs support. Good tackle from behind by James. Coming up as Philippo. Now, the kick maybe shouldn't have been on. It wasn't good. Dickey will mark this. It adds to the pressure. Good movement by Marsh. There's a player out wide, and James. James should take this. He does.
Casey, I guess he's been the best for the Redlegs.
Talking about good players for Norwood, I mean, you can't put too many in front of him. Not only has done some real damaging hard work in the middle, but he's chipped in for a couple of goals, and now he lines up for his third, and it's a great result from a midfielder. His form's been very, very good for Norwood this year. And we mentioned a couple of times in the call here today why the Power haven't used him as much. He got his opportunity last week, and now he finds himself back at Norwood.
James has kicked two. One in the second, one in the third. Now he's kicked one in the last. I was a bit critical of the kick there of Philippo, but really I don't think he didn't have time.
They just hung up there a bit long.
Just hung up a bit too long, gave Dickey an opportunity to mark it.
Once again, we just see that value of that low, hard kick into the forward line that got to Roger James quickly. Adam Pearce just didn't have the time to get back there and thwart the attack, and Roger James finished off with a good goal.
28 points the margin.
I was about to say, though, maybe time possibly to move Filippo up forward. At the moment, they're looking down the barrel.
To be truthful, I think it's too late. I think the Redlegs are in control of this match. It's been a tough, bruising encounter. But I think, to be fair, the Redlegs have just worn out the Eagles, Pacey.
They've just controlled the footy around the packs and in the midfield. They've just given their forward more opportunities.
Now, I might just give Mark Nailey a chance. Who are you tipping, Nails?
30, what are they? 28 points up. I'll go for the Eagles.
He wouldn't tip until three-quarter time. I thought we'd at least get that out of you, but the Redlegs in control, and James has just been superb. Gallagher, left footer, into space, Dickey, big fly, front position. Didn't bring it down. Kluzak unsettled him. Through and slick handball to Filippo. Around the corner, it's a high bomb, but Cunningham, who's got a feature in the best 2 or 3, no doubt about that for the Redlegs.
Certainly does. Their midfield's been terrific, and I mean, it's really no fault of the Eagles' defence. They've been absolutely besieged this quarter through the running play of the Norwood midfield.
He had 18 possessions to half-time, Cunningham, and he's now got 28. So he's found plenty of ball. That one was too high for him. He didn't worry about it. Sikalala, the leading possession getter for the Eagles, playing as a rover. Flicks it out to Dillon, who I've been very impressed with today. He's really shown some signs. 10 kicks, 3 handballs. He's finding plenty of the ball. This is Bigland, who's also a most promising big fellow for the Eagles. To Pavlich. The kick was just a little astray. Oh, there's a holding on. No, said the umpire. Pitt was clever. Out to Clements, releases Bassett. Their defence has been exemplary today, the Redlegs, and their rovers in Cunningham and Borlase have been equally as good.
Yeah, Scotty Borlase brings it inside for Downsborough. Coming over the back was Wiggins. Wiggins takes it. He wants to get the ball moving. Takes one bounce. The big ruckman now heads home. 17 in there is Crowell. He's over the top. One touch at it. Hit down there was Davey. Again, he butters up again. Oh, he's been solid. And maybe they're getting the benefit of hitting the ball maybe a little bit harder at the right times. But, you know, I judge the umpires week in and week out. And today, I haven't been that impressed. I'd say 5 out of 10 so far in this game. They've missed a lot of free kicks where there've been instructions this week, but they really have let a lot go. Dillon comes up with it, a little chip forward pass. We'll find Biglands. He's playing now at full forward, centre half forward. Really just roaming around inside 50.
I think that's more the point. He's the roaming forward, isn't he?
He's generally a thumping kick, so I reckon he'll go pretty close here. This occasion, if they need a goal, they need it now.
Biglands will come inside the line. He does it now, puts it on its way. He's dragged it across just enough for it to bring up a behind.
No problems with the distance there. What Norwood have been able to do in the last half of this game is flood the Eagles forward line. Pavlich just hasn't had the opportunities. Pitt's been able to drop back, fill in that hole, and along with Todd Davey, they've been fantastic.
Davey short. Back it goes now. That must have been a set play. This time it's going to work. Gallagher got it from Bowman. Oh, James take it high. He just crashed through. The umpire said we'll bring it back anyway. Players are a little frustrated. They thought the advantage could have been allowed to flow. Bowman got one high before that.
Definitely nothing wrong with playing that on. I mean, Norwood had the ball in their possession.
Roger James, 13 kicks, 8 handballs. He's been pretty important. I guess, I mean, you've got the job, Pays, you're picking the best, but they've got lots of good players. I think 8 at my last count, the Redlegs amongst their best. Yerbury, who's rucked pretty well today. Manfully, you would say. To Gallagher, who spent most of the game on the interchange bench, but has come on in this quarter and made a bit of an impact. To Cunningham, emerging perhaps as the best on the ground. 21 was Kemp, who's found plenty of the ball also. Look at this. Neal just sits in a hole, bends it around the corner. Marsh, Mark, and paid.
Ooh. Stephen Hall not happy with that, probably rightly so. Just didn't think that he had enough of it.
Well, Hawley's held him goalless.
Didn't control the ball then.
He's played 2 senior games for the Redlegs, Jason Marsh. He's kicked 6 goals. And today, the state fullback in Stephen Hall has held him goalless in a Norwood side that's been running hard. He's got one. There, Moggy's just squares me up. Thanks for that, Moggy. But he didn't make it 2. He missed there. So Hawley's done his job, you would say.
Hawley's done an excellent job back there. I mean, he's had a lot of opportunities up forward, and as is normal, Stephen Hall's just been able to get his fist through the ball and knock it away. It hasn't been that. It's been the crumbing players of the Norwood Footy Club that have been able to get to the fall of the ball and, of course, put Norwood forward with more opportunities. Certainly hasn't been any fault of Stephen Hall's that Norwood where they are today.
We go down to the boundary line.
Yeah, you're right there, chaps. There, running through the midfield for the Eagles is really falling a hole. And if you have a look at Adam Ugrinik, he can hardly raise a trot. I really think unless there's been a serious transgression of those team rules, that is time to get Zanos back on the track and just provide a little run that they're so lately lacking at the moment.
Michael, while we've got you, we asked you to assess the big men. 4 of the best big men in the competition on the ground today. Who's your best?
I'll reserve my decision at this stage. They have been pretty good. Obviously, the Norwood boys have got onto the winning team, and that always looks good. But it really has been a pretty even competition across all 4 of them, I would have thought.
Another game's been played around the state this afternoon. We're down at Noarlunga. We see South 54, the Double Blues are 82. And at Luriukta, our country game this weekend, we see Central 77, North Adelaide 54.
See the strength there of Robert Neal getting in front from the kick out and taking a strong mark, and when he gets in front he's a very, very hard man to move.
Good kick by Neal to the top of the square. Marsh butters up again. In there again was James, who's been in everything this afternoon. Colville hasn't stopped trying. As we see once again on the bottom of the pack, he lifts his weary body to his feet.
Just been second of the ball, the Eagles, particularly in Norwood's forward zone, and Roger James and Cunningham, they've just been in the right spot all day.
28 points, Paisley, the margin. Oh, Cunningham, that was just poetry in motion. And he finishes it off. Good night, the Eagles. The Redlegs, if they can get a cracking 6 goals clear here, get a chance at top spot. Remember that Port Adelaide and Glenelg are playing at Footy Park about now. We might update you with the score shortly, but the Redlegs can seize top spot.
They can indeed. Let's get back to that piece of play. Robert Neal, almost a set play inside to the running Cunningham, and that is a fantastic piece of footy. Robert Neal's last half has been inspirational, and Cunningham, he's giving James a nudge for best on-ground honours.
Back in the middle, we see Biglands again with Yerbury. Biglands this time gets his hand on the football. He tries to break through. He does. Eventually to Colville. It's only gone as far as Pitt after all that effort. All that energy. Back to Ball Ace around his body, up towards Neal again. Filippo's there, so is Matty Kluzak. The ever-reliable Andrew Rogers watches on. And again, we see changes again. Benny Kemp comes off. And Adam Crouch comes off. And Kemp, fellas, with 22 possessions there, really has had a great afternoon.
Just thinking, you know, a side's on top when they can afford to rest a player that really has had a big influence on the game, and young Benny Kemp's done very well, and Peter Rode obviously in the box seat at the moment.
Michael Aish screen.
Played a few fair games out here, DB, didn't he? What a fantastic player he was, Michael Aish. He's really enjoying himself now.
Well, the Eagles had a chance of recruiting Michael Aish, came down and trained with the Eagles in 78 or 9, and Neil Kearley said he's too skinny, too small, never make it.
Well,
hello, Curls, if you're watching.
Couldn't be any further from the truth. He certainly never got any bigger, but it didn't matter. He truly is one of the greats of SANFL footy, and he resisted the temptations to go across the border many, many times.
As did Gary McIntosh.
Certainly did, and those two players are as loyal to the Norwood Football Club as anyone, and it's just great to see. Great to see him back involved, both Michael Aish and Gary McIntosh.
Shirley thumps it down. Cunningham flicks out another handball. Cott, who's found plenty of the ball today. I guess you're going to have to put him for his first half amongst their better players. Hall thumps it down. Downsborough's kicked one, has he? On the left boot, it's another snap. He's playing like a rover, the big man, and a big grin. He's got his second.
He's had a very, very good day since he's come on. Norwood's crumbing today has been outstanding. There you've got almost the biggest bloke in the ground, finding himself front and square again in the right spot, hitting the ball hard, having the poise to slot it straight through the middle, and that's where they've clearly outbeaten the Eagles today in the crumbing pack situations. well, his confidence would be high. He might want to fly it to Melbourne Day.
91 plays 51. It's blown out now to a 40-point margin. They have been on control. The work again by Yeobury. Come down to Cunningham. Cross to Davey. Colville's in there. Slick handball across to Dillon. Didn't quite make it. Back to Colville. Colville looked further afield. He doesn't. Decides to put the ball high for a bit of rain. I don't think we're getting it here this afternoon. Now at ground level again, we see them diving over the top. There was Gallagher in there, number 30. Also was Carslake. In the back of the grandstand there is coach Peter Rode with him in the back. Longest serving player of the club, Gary McIntosh. Still watches on. He'd love to be out there, old Gazza. Unfortunately, the body told him his days were numbered last year. Look at Pitt, it's too easy around. Gets the kick. Upfield ball, aces tackle well by Rogers and pushes him out over the line. But really, all that desperation, that intensity that we saw, the commitment we saw in that first half, really 2.5 quarters, now really has died down. Players really are just going through the motions.
Stephen Pitt's been very, very good at half-back. McCarthy early took 4 marks in the first quarter, but since then, Stephen Pitt's been outstanding at half-back.
2 players in this match, Pavlich and Scotty Bourlays, selected in the under-18 squad to go to Brisbane. First week of July.
There's quite a number of current league footballers, I'll use that term league as being the SANFL, that will represent the state next month.
Kenny Rogers.
Billy, don't you love a pie? Certainly like it, doesn't it show? Pearce, a grubber. Oh, Rogers taken high by Cunningham. Well, the umpires just let that flow, and the skipper threaded his way through. Feeds it back to Brent Fruin. You've got to give him the honours, I guess, today, but Downsborough has kicked 2 goals since late in the second quarter.
I think that's a fair call, Dave. The Eagles just haven't had a player that's been able to dominate or stay involved for 4 quarters. Conversely, Norwood have probably had half a dozen of those, but I think you're right, Brent Fruin has been pretty consistent for 4 quarters.
Sikalala, probably the Eagles' best. Over the top to Floriani, who just gives you 100% every time he pulls on the jumper. No frills about him. In fact, I think he's the Franklin supermarket of football, isn't he? There's just no frills at all.
See if he can slot it through the middle. And he might end up being a boy from Woolworths, but he hasn't stopped trying all day.
4 goals in his career of 14 games. In 15 games, he's got 5. It's a good return for a defender who occasionally has a run down forward.
Yes, he's played most of his footy in defence this year, and he'd be delighted to get up forward and kick a goal. He certainly has worked very, very hard on his kicking. Earlier in his career, it was one area that really needed some work, but to his credit, he's had a very, very good season, and good to see him get down there and kick a goal. Unfortunately for the Eagles, they've been outclassed today by a very, very, very strong Norwood outfit.
Jonathan Yeobury comes off. Bound comes on. We see Downsborough now moved into the ruck role. Crouch is just trying to get through. The umpire, you've got to blow your whistle occasionally. I mean, they've just gone overboard today with that, haven't they?
They really have let it go on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Probably have been occasions where they could have made a decision and got it on.
Why change the rules this midway of the year? Well, fair enough, let the ball flow, but in instances like that where it's just not going to come out, you've got to blow it quicker than that. Oh, we see Floriani. I'm sure he wouldn't do too much damage to Pitt, but he has. Pitt's still not getting it up very sluggishly. Over the back was Fruin. Getting there is Marsh. The big fella bends the big frame and gets it down now to Dickey. And will Dickey take on Pearce? He tried to. James now will take on Kluzak. Downsborough will take on, look like Biglands. Now kicks forward. Who's down there? Great work in tight there by Bound, also by Fruin again. And Rogers punches it forward. Ukrainic will back himself here with Gallagher. Good work by Gallagher trying to force the error. Filippo now needs to get the ball to boot. He does that. There's no one down here. Yes, it is. Floriani takes it 3-4 on 1 here. What can Floriani do other than receive the free kick? Well done.
Well done by the young fella. Kept his eye on the ball and then recovered brilliantly. He was outnumbered 3-1 and got rewarded with a free kick. Good stuff.
Kick goes forward. Big fly McCarthy, who hasn't had a big impact in this match. Sikalala has roving, tries to come back inboard. Did he try too much? No, he gets it away. McCarthy needs support, doesn't get it. Dickey claimed him in the tackle. Wheeling over the top of it. 21 is Kemp for the Redlegs. And fellas, I can't help but thinking the Redlegs won't be strengthened when they get Scotty Doreen back, Grant Tanner, Nathan Bassett, perhaps Jason Miller, Anthony Harvey, Andrew Pascoe, Glenn Malloy, Eugene Warrior, Jerry Dan Tokia and Christian O'Brien. They've got another team out injured or coming back through the reserves.
Can you do your homework and come up with a few more, David? It's a fair side to come back in, isn't it?
Oh, look, they've been awesome today. Oh, Whelan, beautifully captured and misses. But it does give you just a little bit of perspective on where the Redlegs are at. They've played the best football we've seen them play for a number of years today, and they've still got plenty of quality players out.
The point is they're not all going to be able to get back in. I mean, Doreen's been terrific, and Harvey obviously will come back into the side, but the others really are just making up the depth and the strength of their side.
Well, Michael Parsons has got his wish. Darzanos is back on the field at the 23-minute mark of this last quarter. Bone takes it. Should receive the free kick. He does this in front of Fruin. The two number 22s started the day on each other. A lot of changes have been made with Yerbury and also Downsborough across the centre half forward. Kicks a long ball up towards Marsh in front position, nearly brought to ground. Kluzak just trying to find the pace of the game once again. Spent a bit of time in the reserves, trying to find a little bit of match, or getting a bit of match practice. Out wide. Bruin again. Norwood had the numbers. Oh, he's plucked one out of the air there to Crowell. One-handed, dragged it back in. The kick's not good. Touched on the way by Cunningham. Back up to McCarthy. Just needs to chip it across to Biglands. Biglands will mark this. The big bloke will go back. He could chip it over again if he wants to. He decides now to go back. He's only 40 metres out. Once again, directly in front. He's kicked a couple of behinds this afternoon. This time he brings one back. He's brought it back far enough. That's his first major. Much needed one for the Eagles.
37 points the margin. Gee, you can't help but thinking that this Redlegs side have blown the Eagles away in the final wash. The Eagles have shown great character this season. They've fought this one out today. But they've just been outgunned, particularly through the midfield. Biglands, who I guess the Eagles would have thought today might have been a trump card, really hasn't had the impact that he would have hoped to in this match.
Well, I posed the question to you, David. This game was played at Woodville Oval. What would have been the result?
I think bigger Woodville Oval. The Eagles go better there, but don't Norwood play this small oval beautifully. They play corridor football, and at times the Eagles have gone a little wide.
Very young, very inexperienced, the Eagles side, but come September, they'll be a part of it. There's no doubt about that. The spacious areas of Football Park really going to test the side. Pavlik, we haven't seen much of the footy since half-time. Across to Floriani. In there again is Crowell. Crowell gives it back again to Floriani. He's over the top of his shoulder again. Has he brought it back far enough? I think he has. Another goal to the little fella. That's his second.
Well, you talk about the Floriani stock. His father, Eldo, was as tough as you come playing for the Eagles. In fact, looking at John, you'd think it was Eldo playing in a new Eagles jumper. He's tough, he's hard at it, there's nothing to him. An ungainly kicking style, but you talk about value for touches and commitment to the cause. I think you'd go to war in the trenches with this young fellow, no problems at all.
14-7 plays 10-10. 21-point margin, so they're still in the game. Time will get the better of this side. They've kicked the last couple of goals. We see Matthew Kluzak coming through hard. He's good to see him back out here. And down at ground level, and no doubt has enjoyed this game this afternoon is Michael Parsons.
One of the other people that have joined the game is some of the trainers for the Norwood Football Club. Carol, they've had a great win. Who's been your best player out there today?
Oh, it's a hard one. I think Todd Davey, he's done really well out there, and also Troy Clements.
And after they've finished running around today, do they have a process after the game where they stretch out, or those just straight in the showers and have a quiet beer?
Oh, no. The physio works with them, and, yeah, they stretch down using ropes, and then, yeah, then the coach talks to them. But stretching's a major thing for our club.
Excellent. Thanks, Carol.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Carol. And I guess you're wondering, but Michael Parsons is happily married. It's the skipper, Rogers. from half-back, drilling it towards centre-half forward. Wiggins up, Davey down. And I guess, Paisy, the trainer's probably right. Todd Davies been amongst their better players as well.
No doubt about that. I mean, his rebound from half-back's been terrific. And I think the real asset in the Norwood side today has been their players to put in 4 consistent quarters, which is something the Eagles haven't been able to do.
Wheel into Pearce, skirts around at the 50-metre line, bends it back. Well, this is interesting. If he kicks this, they're 15 points and on a fly. So they've come back from nowhere, the Eagles, to reduce the gap to 15 points.
It certainly has been a great little fight back from the Eagles. They haven't stopped trying all day. I mean, their spirit and their attack on the ball has been very, very good all day. They've just been outclassed, and I mean, nothing more than a coach would look for is a side that's prepared to keep going and keep doing all those little things right until the very end. And Adam Pearce, well done.
Christopher Kluzak back on. He's gone straight into the middle of the square there on the offensive side. We see there he gets his hands on the football with Gallagher.
Now, Mark Ian Mogridge, our stats man, might tell us, but it was only a few years ago that Port Adelaide came from 24 points down into time on here at Norwood. I reckon it was the early 90s and stole an improbable victory here. Could the Eagles do the same?
I think at the 28.5-minute mark of this last quarter, I think they're going to run out of time. We get another maybe 6 or 7 minutes. Very, very interesting. We see them go forward again through Cunningham. Colville's really been with him, but Cunningham has been outstanding this afternoon. We just see Cunningham's, statistically, fellas, has had 31 possessions this afternoon. Time again, Crouch comes out with a quick exchange of handballs once again. Ends up with Pearce, who kicked the last goal. It skittles through a few players here, finally ending up with Bassett. Coming across as McCartney. They've lifted a cog here. Across to Rogers. Players are starting to slip over. The fellas, we just hear the final siren go here. And really was a great contest for 2.5 quarters.
15 points, Maisie. I guess it probably flattered the Eagles because they got 3 late goals. The Redlegs were in complete control midway through that final quarter. But this, I guess, for 3.5 quarters was one of the best games of football we've seen for a long time.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Like I mentioned before, the effort and the intensity was there all day from both sides. Norwood really did control the game for most of the contest. Their crumbing was exceptional. Their ability to get players around the ball really was outstanding. And I really think the true feature is, and the true difference between the two sides, is that they were consistently able to have more players that played 4 quarters of the footy.
Downsborough, who sat on the bench, came on and made a real impact in ruck and at centre forward, kicking a couple of goals.
Certainly did, and had a hand in a few others. And I'm just wondering whether he's got to go down and have a quick shower and get ready for a flight over to Melbourne Day.
Maybe, as we go down to Michael Parsons.
Yes, and with me, my best on the ground today, Roger James. Roger, a fantastic game of footy.
Oh, great game, and all the way right to the end, the Eagles never gave up, and it got a bit scary at the end.
They did.
Glad the time ran out.
Yeah, it's always nice when that bell goes when they're making a run like that. But your own form, you must be really pleased with the way you got a hold of the nut today.
Yeah, I was happy. I suppose my form's been all right the whole year, and just to come out today and play well was good.
And also Donald Dickey coming back into the team today, he was reasonable.
Yeah, I thought he played all right. Started real well first quarter, probably died out a bit in the second, but had a good second half.
And the feeling around the club at the moment must be pretty good. That could be a game for top spot depending on other results.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, we're just going to knuckle down, keep on going the way we're going, and hopefully things will look after itself.
All right, Roger, thanks very much. A fantastic game today. Thank you.
It was a great game, and Paisy, I guess when we're thinking about 3-2 and 1, pretty hard to split Cunningham and Roger James as best for the Redlegs.
I couldn't, but in the end, I just thought Roger James, with his 3 goals moving forward, and his real intensity in the midfield, his short gives and his handballs, he really did have an outstanding day, and I'll give him best on ground honours.
So I guess third best falls to Stephen Pitt in defence for the Redlegs.
Yeah, Cunningham. Let's not forget to mention him with 30-odd touches. He was.
Well, I
terrific.
guess they shared 1 and 2 anyway. You cut it, didn't they?
Okay. I mean, they both had a great game. Pitt was very good in defence, and I thought young Cotton through the midfield had a great game as well.
His first half was terrific.
He was good early. Yeah.
Any others you fancied?
Todd Davey in defence, and I thought the ruckman Newbury had a real good tussle with Wiggins and also Redlegs.
Bit of a case today for the Redlegs that nearly all played well.
There wasn't too many that we could find that didn't have some sort of influence on the game, even those that were in and off the bench. Downsbury came on and had a part in about 3 or 4 goals, and most of their players really did something, whereas for the Eagles, I couldn't find anyone that really had 4 quarters of footy. I mean, they had a lot of players that sort of came in and out of the game and had an influence, but consistently over 4 quarters, they didn't have too many.
I thought Sikalala was their best by a fair margin today.
He was probably the player that had most of the footy, but Stephen Hall, I thought if anyone was going to go close to 4 quarters, he was one of the best.
So the final scoreboard here at Norwood Oval shows the Redlegs 14-7. They led by 7 points at quarter time, 10 points at half time, 15 points at three-quarter time, and the final margin 15 points to the victors.
Just looking at the goal kickers there for both sides. For Norwood, Newell with 3, and James, as we mentioned before, with 3. Downsborough came on and kicked a couple, Vorlace a couple, Donald Dickey, Cotton and Cunningham 1 apiece. And for the Eagles, Pavlik there with 3, Floriani 2, and they had singles to Dylan, Kluzak, Pearce, Shirley and Sikalala.
And the stats, Paisy, 192 kicks, 112 handballs, the Redlegs. They really had plenty of the ball.
They really did dominate all over the ground. We just see with the kicks, 192 to 74. And all the hit-outs pretty even. The ruckman had a great duel today, but centre break, especially at Norwood Oval, very crucial with Norwood just on top there with 14 to 10.
In 2 other matches today, South and Central at Noarlunga. It's South and Sturt at Noarlunga. Sturt took the money there. Central and North at Nurayup. It looks like they'll take the money. And at half-time in the match between Port and Glenelg, Port just holding sway. West Adelaide, of course, have the bye. Last night in the AFL, it was Essendon snatching a 4-point victory over the Western Bulldogs. Today, West Coast got Geelong. Collingwood, well, look at that. They've got St Kilda. Woohoo! Well, Eddie will be happy. Port Adelaide and Hawthorn tonight at Football Park. The Kangaroos and Carlton at the MCG tonight. And tomorrow it's Sydney and Brisbane, Fremantle and Richmond. And, of course, a big match for Adelaide. They take on Melbourne at the MCG. Next week in the SANFL, it's Sturt and Port at Adelaide Oval. Our live on ABC game of the day, 2:15. Central and Eagles, Glenelg and West, Norwood and South. I think you'll enjoy that match, the grand final replay between Sturt and Port. If you want the video, it's $34.95, and I think it's worth buying. This match, probably the best we've seen for a long time. So we'll see you 2:15 next Saturday afternoon. When we go to Adelaide Oval, it's Sturt and Port. I'll have a holiday. Stephen Trigg will be in the chair. Join us then. Bye for now.
Watching you, baby, you play it hard, but you play it right. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I don't stop watching you, baby. I can't stop watching you, baby. I don't stop watching you, baby. You play it hard, but you play it
everyone, and welcome to a special ABC netball presentation on this Saturday afternoon. Due to the Australia versus South Africa test match that was played last night, the National Netball League teams have a week off this week, so we thought it'd be a great opportunity to recap on the competition so far. Joining me in this presentation this afternoon is former Australian representative player Monica Lamb. And Monica, we've seen some scintillating netball so far in this season, and it really shows considering we've got 4 teams who are really fighting it out for the minor premiership.
Strong performances from the 2 Adelaide sides, the Adelaide Ravens starting off well, and as expected, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, last year's premiership team. The Swift Sydney side also doing very well, as to the Melbourne-based side, Kestrels.
In round one, the only real surprise was the strong showing of the Sydney Sandpipers against the Melbourne Phoenix. The Sandpipers had to do some major rebuilding this year after they lost some big names to other teams in the off-season. There was a boil-over in round two when the defending champions were rolled by the Melbourne Kestrels. It was a shock to the system for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, who only went down by one. But it was a